Jesus.
Did the music play? Did you hear the music?
Yeah, I heard the music.
Didn't play on my headphones. The video clip played, but not the theme music. I don't know what happened there. I had to hear. I heard it off my computer for some reason, but I heard the video, the intro video that plays beforehand through my headphones. So I don't know what happened there. Anyways, I'm your host. Welcome everybody to Ring Post Radio, the only podcast that has audio difficulties. That's right. No other podcast suffers this. I'm your host, Ryan Knightsey. With me, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend, Scottward Edward. Scotty, how you doing today?
Hot start to the show. You just
all the momentum screeching home.
I think my favorite part was you just like staring at the screen. Like, as you know, when you usually do the intro, I was just like, is he gonna?
Yeah.
No? Okay. Hi everyone. This I don't even know how to start anymore.
Yeah.
I am lost. I if I had an idea of how I was gonna introduce myself today, it's gone. All of it's gone. This episode's already off the hinges. Arguably already ruined. We can only go up, though. Think about it that way. We can only go up.
Here, let's see. If I play, let me just try to play another.
Why?
See.
This is not that important.
It's not that important, but it's confusing. I'm confused why I could hear the video part of the beginning, not the music, and then be able to hear you. That's what I'm confused about. It's all the same system. Why can I not hear the music? That didn't make any sense to me.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I'm just going to play this real quick.
Money.
Do you hear stuff?
Yep.
It's for audience? I don't know. Anyways, I can't hear anything. Anyways, yeah, it's not that important. You're right, Scotty. Yeah. My brain is broken now, and I do not know how to start. This is the worst start, I think, to a podcast we've ever done. And we're live, so it's not like we can redo it. How do we? I mean, I don't even know how to get right back on track without just going straight into talking about wrestling. How was your day? How was your week, Scotty?
It was fine. How was yours?
Mine was fine. I'm working from home now.
Nice.
Show I'm working on. I have to work from home, so I have a separate. I have a 2-desk combination in my office, and so I have a second desk here that just has a bunch of another laptop and monitor set up right next.
Like working from home?
The problem with working from home is that I'm also in wrap, which for payroll is incredibly light work because when you're shooting, you have 400 to 500, 600 people you have to pay every single week, right?
Uh-huh.
In wrap, it's maybe like 30, 40. And so it's like not that there's not that much work to be done anyways. So in some ways, I really enjoy working from home, especially during wrap, because there's nothing to do and I don't do anything all day. On the other side, there's the weird guilt in my body of like, surely there's something I need to be working on right now. And surely playing video games all day is not the best move.
It's probably not the best move, no.
So I just have like the computer over here and I'm just like playing Dave the Diver all day. And I'm enjoying myself.
You could be catching up on wrestling the whole time.
Oh, I'm also doing that.
Okay.
For sure, I'm also doing that. I watched all the G1 Climax this week. I got caught up on a bunch of different things. I'm not fully caught up on everything I want to get caught up on, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But this is, as I like to put it, All In month, and not because All In is happening this month, but because every promotion under the sun is having an event sometime this month, and so you and I are going to be locked in, all in for all these wrestling events, I think.
I think the funniest part about this month is that while there's obviously the all-in aspect and there's tournaments and all this jazz, WWE decided let's also do 2 pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Which is like highly unnecessary.
They never do that.
They never do 1 pay-per-view. And you want us to do 2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's baloney. And at least one's out of the way now. So only one more to go there. But there's the rest of wrestling that still has to put on some sort of major show. I think there. I don't know. Don't quote me on this, but I feel like there's some sort of major show at least every weekend, right?
Mhm.
Because of either tournaments or just that's how the schedule lines up, and that's a lot.
Yes.
That is a lot.
Yes. We
I'm
have
tired.
SummerSlam, All Japan, G1, and New Japan all had shows yesterday. Obviously, New Japan and Noah have shows today. Next week, New Japan, Noah, Stardom all have tournament shows with the 5 star
Oh,
starting.
God.
The week after that, New Japan, Noah, and Stardom all have shows along with AAA has Triple Mania in Mexico City, which is the one actual Triple Mania. Also, Deadlock Pro has a show that weekend as well. The weekend after that is Rev Pro, Stardom, All In, Noah. And then the weekend after that, WWE, Stardom, TNA, New Japan, Marigold.
Oh God. I am.
I'm real excited for it. I mean, tournament season, obviously. I wish tournament season was spread out a little bit more, but I'll take what I can get.
It's like a chore to get me to watch things lately. So it doesn't mean I'm not excited. It just means I'm fearful because if like I don't sit down and watch something, I'm gonna be behind more than I already am. That's the
Yes.
tournament part of this.
Yes.
The tournament part of this is like if you miss a day, good luck, buddy. It's like, man,
I love the days when it's like, ooh, there's 2 days off of the G1. Oh, thank God, I can catch up on a bunch of stuff.
I caught up and then they had 2 days this weekend. I was like, oh well, it was nice knowing you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm doing. We'll talk about it a little bit more, but I'm doing the N1 during this year, where I'm talking about the doing daily audio for the N1 tournament, and it's like night one is this morning, so I obviously haven't watched it yet, and that will be out later today, maybe tomorrow, depending on because I also have to pick up my wife at the airport. But then this weekend, the N1 is like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That's like, oh baby, we just get locked in. Here we go for N1 action, and then I think it's like that much, and then I think they have 4 days off, and then the N1's night 6, 7 is on the weekend, and then they have the entire week off, and then the N1 again. So it's like it's like all congested and then very spread out. Anyways,
I have a slight plan to do that to record every day for the 5 star because I have to watch it every day.
ooh,
It's not feeling great. Just because I look at the schedule and I go, I don't know about this one, but I feel like if I keep it to like very short spurts, it can work. But that's just me talking out loud. I'm dying inside thinking about how much wrestling I have to watch over the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks. Is it 3 weeks? Yeah,
4
sure,
weeks.
why not?
4 weeks. I think.
I'm also like this is the all-in aspect of this, like the actual show and the build to that never leaves my feed now. So it's like I have to focus. I already am bad at focusing, and I have to think about this and that and this. I don't even know what we're talking about today, and I asked you yesterday.
That is true. This is a fact. I think let's talk about it. Let's give it out.
Oh, Summerfest. We'll talk about
Summer
Summerfest.
Summerfest. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
That's the famous show. We were talking about SummerSlam, of course, WWE's pay-per-view that took place last night. We kind of already talked about the 5-star Grand Prix a little bit last week, but we'll talk about it a little bit more because the tournament starts this weekend on Saturday with actual first night action. We'll give a little update on the G1 Climax. We're officially more than halfway through the G1 Climax. 10 nights in. I don't think either of us watched night 10 this morning, though, but we are officially 10 nights into the G1 Climax, so we're more than halfway done. We'll talk about are we going to talk about CMLL? Did you watch CMLL on Friday?
No.
All right, we're not going to talk about CMLL, but because I didn't get to that.
Oh, you didn't get to it. Okay, I was going to ask you a one-word question to describe MJF's performance. One-word answer, and based off of the Twitter, it would be not great.
Probably racist, but also Mexico does love it for some reason. So what am I to say? If Mexico is into it, and it gets over, and they constantly keep
I feel
doing
like
it. I guess it's
MJF's
fine.
always in the news, and like, no offense to him, I don't need that. Thanks, I'm good.
There are other wrestlers I want to know about.
No shit.
But speaking
There's
about
others.
speaking about people in the news, let's start off with the big photo that came out earlier this week. That's right.
Oh.
We're talking about I wish I had a joke here. It would be a perfect opportunity to slide a joke in here, but I don't. We're talking about the photo, the meeting that took place between Tony Khan and Shane McMahon in Arlington, Texas, earlier this week. If you've not seen it, there's a photo that went around of their actual meeting that took place. So yeah, Tony Khan, Shane McMahon have officially met. They talked about something. That photo went around and people lost their minds thinking, Shane McMahon's 100% coming into AEW. And I said, it's a photo of two people in an office. I don't see any paperwork on the table. I don't see nothing. I just see bottled water and two people in an office. But anyways, it's still something to talk about, of course. So this report came out that they officially met. There was obviously the photo that came out afterwards. There was rumors regarding Shane McMahon AEW last month when Conrad Thompson mentioned on podcast. This is all written by the Observer. That Conrad Thompson mentioned on a podcast that he heard Shane McMahon set feelers out to the company. However, Tony Khan told Dave later that they never met or spoke to Shane McMahon. Now, since then, they have officially met. We don't know what they talked about. Yeah, it could be AI. I don't know. Probably not. I don't think it is. But they officially met. Shane McMahon says it was a positive meeting. And the quote here, which was given to Bully Ray on Busted Open After Dark, says, quote, Tony and I were connected through a mutual friend, and we had a great meeting. We talked about many things and mostly about our shared love for the business and the rewards and challenges of working with family, which I think is very funny for both of them, I guess. I congratulated him on the 5-year anniversary of AEW and look forward to seeing how he evolves the business moving forward. So right off the bat, what is your take about this whole Tony Khan, Shane McMahon gimmick here?
Shane McMahon's trying to get a job again in WWE. That is my take. It's easy. I feel like there's a lot of wrestlers that use the other companies to like get leverage or to make people consider them or reconsider them. And I think Shane McMahon is the same. Like, Dave reported that Shane isn't wanted by WWE currently, but if the idea of him popping up on AEW television becomes a reality, maybe that changes things for him. But here's the thing. I don't think that really matters to that many people in WWE. Maybe this is the hot take, but Shane McMahon isn't a draw. Nothing about Shane McMahon excites me. Yeah, maybe he'll draw like night one, but what is he going to offer AEW as a performer right now? Please tell me.
Well, he is the best wrestler in the world. He has a trophy that says it, Scotty. So I'm just gonna.
Yes, and someone else in WWE has a catchphrase that says it, yet he's not. So, like, what's your
you
point?
You lose one best wrestler in the world, and you gain another.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Except I'm pretty sure Will Ospreay and MJF say they are every single week.
And Max Caster.
And Max Caster. So there you go. There's the feud. Shane McMahon versus Max Caster. Does that put your butt into a seat?
No, it doesn't. I mean, it would definitely make me watch the television that I'm already watching. I have to imagine, though, that this will get people to tune in for one night to see Shane McMahon in AEW, right? Like that, like in terms of a one-time moment shock factor, that's what it would do. Does it have any longevity? I would immediately say no. The Mercedes Moné stands didn't necessarily join Mercedes Moné in her journey to AEW. They watched her in Stardom that one time, and they watched her show up in AEW that one time, and then they kind of haven't really stayed with her in any capacity. So I think in the same exact vein, people might tune in to watch Shane McMahon that one time and then not really ever again.
Yeah. Yeah, here's the thing. I don't think Shane McMahon has as many fans as Mercedes Moné. So,
Sure.
if any, like that's the thing about Shane. I don't know many people that are like, "Oh my God, Shane's this great everything." Like he's been fired, he's left, fired, whatever from WWE like 17 times. Like I don't know, man. I just don't see it. I don't see it being that big of a deal, and I don't think that I mean, you always take the conversation because it's always worth having a conversation.
Sure.
But I just don't see him being worth it.
Who do you think leaked it? Shane or Tony?
Oh, yes. Both of them. Like
I don't know. I lean Shane McMahon leaked it only because it's like he's the guy that put out the information that I'm putting out feelers to AEW, and then he's the one of the quote of the same day to Bully Ray later that day, like all these sort of things. It's like a lot of stuff is a lot of stuff is coming from the Shane McMahon camp, and not a lot is coming from Tony Khan that I'm seeing. So
yeah,
it
but
just
he wouldn't talk about it.
Sure. He's a guy that doesn't want to talk about it. But there's an obvious reason that Shane McMahon is trying to drum up interest right now. And
Here's what would happen if you asked Tony Khan about it. We have a great pay-per-view in 3 weeks called All In that features the best wrestlers in the world, Bryan Danielson versus Swerve Strickland, and blah blah blah, and this and that, and this and that, and then like he might say one word about Shane McMahon. That's it.
I've met him. He is a nice guy to talk to. But we have a great pay-per-view coming up.
He's a great guy to talk to, and you can see some other great guys to talk to this weekend on All In.
I love he's a family man. He has great punches. And
like that's just what it would be.
Yeah,
you know it. I know it. They know it.
So if the idea is that Shane McMahon wants to get back into WWE, what does that look like in the current climate of WWE? Because obviously there's the aspect of like Shane McMahon as a wrestler in WWE. Which how old is this guy, by the way? He's got to be in his 50s at this point, right?
Oh yeah, come on now. He's yeah. What does it look like for Shane McMahon?
Is he coming back as a wrestler, or is he coming back also as a backstage person? Because if I recall, remember the last time he showed up in WWE?
Yeah,
he was gunning to win the Rumble.
Oh no, that's okay. That's the second to last time. The last time he showed up, he tried to fight the Miz and Snoop Dogg and hurt himself.
Oh, was that the official last time? Oh yeah, because it was the Rumble prior to that. You're right.
Yeah,
the Rumble prior to that is he was gunning to win the whole thing, and then the WrestleMania after that, he wrestled the Miz and then tore his quad, and then never came back. And I guess now he's healthy, so good on him.
I hope he's healthy by now. It's been like a year and 6 months.
So do you think, obviously the aspect of wrestler, and I like to think he's not going to come back as a wrestler. What do you think it would mean if he came back in the back office in some capacity? What could that look like? What could it look like with WWE bringing a McMahon back into wrestling?
I hate to be that he's not going to. I don't think Triple H and him get along. I don't think they've ever got along, based on the fact that I don't remember any time them really working together besides like one time on TV. And I also don't think TKO is going to sit around and want to pay a McMahon right now. I think they've had enough McMahon. Sure, Stephanie popped up on SummerSlam yesterday. It was at WrestleMania, but if we're to believe, she doesn't have an official position in the company.
According to Triple H afterwards in the media scrum, when she asked about Stephanie McMahon, he said she has no position in the company.
Yeah, so like I don't think they're in the McMahon business anymore. Or if they can avoid being in the McMahon business, they will. And that's why they don't have any interest in Shane now. And I don't like, here's the thing about Shane. He doesn't offer much, I don't think, on the business side. And what you get like one match out of him where he jumps off of something. Great. He's 54 years old. No offense to him. He shouldn't be jumping off anything. He should just let it go. Let whatever it is go. I know it's in his blood or whatever, but you know what? I'm good with no McMahons in wrestling. Thank you.
Yeah, the question is like, what does he bring in terms of back office thing? And I think I mean, he certainly probably brings in something. I don't know what specifically that is, right? There was no sort of evidence. Obviously, he does. He is an entrepreneur. He does have a couple businesses and all these sort of different things where he makes his money. But what connections could he bring in that are going to be more valuable or of equal value than the connections that like a Nick Khan are bringing in, right? Like Shane McMahon was in this company long before Nick Khan was, and we never saw any of that stuff. Granted, Vince was still at the helm, but we never really saw all these sort of connections that I think that WWE still maintains. I don't necessarily know what more of these companies or deals that Shane would even bring in, whether maybe like a weed company, but I don't necessarily understand what that would be in relation to what WWE already has and slash or what Nick Khan and others and TKO and UFC are going to be able to bring in. I just don't see the positives. And maybe that's because I don't know what the positives are. Maybe there are positives that do exist that we don't know about. WWE doesn't need them. TKO doesn't need them. That's extra money that you're going to be giving a McMahon. And I agree that I think it's a dumb idea for TKO. I mean, granted, he's not his father's son, hopefully in that sense. But I don't think it's a good PR move to bring a McMahon back in. Is it a good PR move for AEW to have this idea floating around of a McMahon coming in? I don't know. I mean, this dumped on a Wednesday and they didn't really, I mean, obviously with the Olympics, they didn't have like a massive increase, obviously, but I don't think this created enough buzz that Shane McMahon was showing up on Dynamite. So I don't know. I think it's like an interesting story, but they had a meeting, they talked, a photo got out there. I think Shane is definitely angling for something. It's just I don't really see positives on either side of the road here, WWE or AEW, in actively helping increase their business. In AEW, you can probably get one night of a pop, but then you're stuck with Shane McMahon in whatever role that is. And maybe he brings something to the back office, but we already have a bajillion voices, and also his experience is from a Vince McMahon WWE level. Why do we want more of that in AEW? On the WWE side, they obviously got rid of all the McMahons, and they're hotter than ever. Why would you want to bring in another McMahon? I just don't understand. I just really don't understand it.
It's also, if you look at it, the idea of it's the opposite of what AEW is supposed to be. AEW isn't supposed to be a company with a McMahon in it. It was always the company against the McMahons in WWE, right? So to me, it just kind of hurts what they've long been going for, and in a way I've tried to return to this year, right? We did the sports entertainment bullshit last year. It almost sunk the company, right? Like, plain and simple. While it took a while, because yes, you were getting some of your biggest numbers or whatever for a little bit there, ultimately in the end it was not a good idea and left a lot of fans not interested in the product. I don't think Shane McMahon's going to do anything beneficial for you, whether it be for your diehard fans that love this company or for really anyone else. I just don't see a world where Shane McMahon in AEW is a good thing. So if I'm them being AEW, I'm passing. And if I'm WWE, I'm not, you didn't want him. There's no reason to want him now. There really isn't. They took a meeting. You have a lot of other people to pay, but if you're both companies, why pay Shane McMahon to do nothing? Like he's not going to bring much to the table here.
I talked about this last week. You got Becky Lynch floating around there as a free agent. Surely she's, coming back in, but it's like, am I going to put my money towards Shane McMahon or am I going to put my money to Becky Lynch,
Right.
Which one's going to give me actual value?
Yeah, if you have a shot to get Becky Lynch, if you're either company, obviously, that's where your money should be going. It should not be going to Shane O'Mac.
So will we see him again? Probably.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will. But also, AEW wouldn't have his theme song, and I feel like that's 95% of the buy when you get Shane McMahon.
That's true.
You want the theme song and the dance. If they get him without the theme song, well, what's that?
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a lot of people pitching the idea of like you can put him with the Elite, and I'm like, cool, that's a cool idea for like the one show, and then it's like, do you want him stuck with the Elite?
Here's my hot take. The Elite already stinks as is. Let's not add Shane McMahon.
That's a fair point. I think that's a completely fair take. It's
probably not that hot anymore.
Yeah. It's not the most interesting act in AEW currently, and I don't think adding Shane McMahon is going to make me more interested in the act.
Yeah, the Young Bucks in their 105-day title reign with no defenses, and then Okada and his nothing. I don't even know what Okada's there for besides getting. He took the Shinsuke Nakamura deal of, I can just get paid to do nothing except he holds the title.
Isn't it upsetting that Okada and AEW is doing what everyone thought he would have done in WWE?
1,000%.
We were on the show being like, thank God he's going to AEW, because in WWE he would just be a comedy character who doesn't wrestle as hard. And now here we are.
He won the Continental title in March.
Mm-hmm.
He has 2 defenses, and he hasn't had a defense in 3 months.
I believe he has a defense or an eliminator or something against Claudio coming up. I think that was announced.
Great.
I mean, that legitimately
great.
That should be good.
That is great. Like, cool. But this is my point. Like, I watch freaking MJF or Ospreay defend the international title weekly, but the Elite's like, duh. Like nothing. They just sit there and have bad. Were they even on TV this week? No, they're not on TV. Like, listen.
I don't think they've been on TV since Blood and Guts.
Look at me.
Look
at the camera. The Young Bucks have been on autopilot for the majority of the year. Post Sting, they've been on autopilot. And all of last year, they were pretty much on autopilot. Who are we going to blame now? Punk isn't around. I'm annoyed. I'm done. And you know what that tag title match is going to be at Wembley? It's going to be like them versus the Acclaimed versus FTR. Does that move you, Ryan? In the year 2024? Does that move you? Does this tag division move you? We could have the Motor City Machine.
Scotty,
and yet, instead, we have nothing. Tag team wrestling in this company is non-existent.
Tag team wrestling, to be fair, I think is dying currently because it's not existent in WWE either. We got a whole show of 7 matches of all singles, which is in theory is cool, but
no. See, this is where I don't like. WWE doesn't say they're supposed to have the best tag division. AEW did.
Fair point.
I'll never forget it. Okay, and whatever. I'm not doing this again this week.
No, yeah. I
That's what they could. Shane McMahon comes in, and he forms a tag team with
Jungle Boy. Jack Perry managed by Shane McMahon. Thoughts?
That's still the Elite.
But it's a different combination. Thoughts on that?
It's not terrible. There's worse ideas to book Shane McMahon in. I'll tell you that.
Sure. Well, let's talk about SummerSlam. This took place obviously in Cleveland. Cage Match has it listed as SummerSlam Cleveland as the title of the show. I don't know if that's for certain, but that's wild to me if that is the case. Obviously took place on Saturday. It was announced, or at least the Cage Match listing here for attendance was 55,858. I think the attendance they gave was 57,000 or something live on air. I don't remember. Either way, they announced that it was the highest American. It was confusing. They said the highest American stadium attendance, which also doesn't make any sense because
I think they meant like money, maybe. I don't know.
gate. Well, they would have said gate, which they
I
think
don't
they've
know.
done before.
Wasn't it Miz and R-Truth?
Yes.
They definitely said something wrong.
Yeah, well, because it's confusing because it's like WrestleMania surely are all in stadiums at this point.
Yeah, and
They're
like
definitely breaking that number
or
constantly.
like 20,000 more than 50. Yeah, I don't
Well, the
know.
WrestleMania in the Dallas Cowboys Stadium a couple years ago, where they're like it was 97,000.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was
know
like
what they were going for.
I don't know. I don't know what they were talking about, honestly.
It
But
wasn't
anyway,
a full stadium sell like WrestleMania is either. So
no, it
that's
was maybe like 60 to 75% full, I would say, which is still pretty good, obviously.
of
Just
of an NFL stadium. Yeah, that's pretty good.
yeah.
Uh,
It's not like SummerSlam 2 years ago, last year, 2 years
yeah,
ago. When did Triple
yeah,
H
yeah.
take over?
Like that was 60, 70. If all in's at like 50, it'll
Mhm,
be kind of similar. Because
mhm.
I think what is Wembley like 80K or so
Yeah.
based off last year. So it'll be kind of similar in that. Which is fine.
If I'm
This is a lot of
AEW,
tickets being sold for wrestling.
if I'm AEW, this is the number to beat. 55,000.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if are they still stuck at 40 or whatever they've been stuck at for like the past year?
I'll look it up. I'll look it up for sure. But while I look that up, just to get a good idea of where they're at, what do you think of SummerSlam Cleveland edition? What do you think of the pay-per-view overall?
Pretty bad show. Actually, let me specifically say this. It was very SummerSlam. SummerSlam's never a good show. Ever. Like, can't tell you the last time I walked. Maybe like the one with like Lesnar and Punk versus and Cena and Danielson, which was like 2013,
Like, what, a decade
2012.
ago? Yeah.
Yes, I think it was 2013. So like SummerSlam is never good. And I don't want to sit here and act like this was a new thing this year. You looked at the card, you looked at the matches, and a few people said to themselves, "Oh, this is going to be a great show." And you know why I knew it wasn't going to be a great show, Ryan? Because the main event was made strictly for a return.
Yeah.
That was it.
Teased so well, and we all were like, "Yep, we know what's happening here."
Right, like that's just what they do. I can't tell you the last good SummerSlam. No, sorry. Can't tell you the last great SummerSlam. I look at last year's. Last year's had Paul. Oh my god, it had the tribal combat match. Oh god.
This is the tribal
That
combat match.
the Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso for 36 minutes
Oh
where they
yeah,
rested in the crowd and there would be no interference and then there was interference. Yeah. Ugh. That was
Here's the
rough.
SummerSlam 2022. The main event was Roman versus Brock, last man standing. This was the Brock coming out and bulldozing the ring.
Yeah, that was cool. Maybe
A
it's
little
that one.
technical.
There's Pat McAfee versus Happy Corbin on here though, so
Mhm.
I would argue that probably isn't true.
Liv Morgan
Uh,
versus Ronda Rousey. No.
Oof, baboof.
Yeah.
I'm not going through the summer. I don't want to go through SummerSlam history. SummerSlam stinky. This show was not great.
It was a tractor, not a bulldozer, but tomato.
Yeah, there's a great video of Roman being like to Paul Heyman. Why didn't I get a tractor?
As of July 31st, AEW All In is listed at 44,646 tickets distributed for a current setup of 51,000. So this was obviously a week ago or so, way before they're really kicking off the main event push of All In right now. So I'd be interested to see how it
They
goes.
should lie about the number.
Oh, they should. They should say 100,000.
They obviously going to lie about the number. Well, Ospreay has a tattoo to prove it.
Anyway, SummerSlam Cleveland. I thought the show was also pretty bad. It was not that great of a show. And part of the show that was extremely frustrating to me and a lot of other people was the levels of distraction finishes in
Oh,
every
you know
single
how I
match.
feel about these days.
I,
You
it
complain
was
about
the
it on
pay-per-view.
AEW. I'll
It was the
complain
pay
about
per
it here.
view of shoulder injuries and distraction finishes. And
Oh my god, the shoulders, man.
the thing about the distraction finishes that I wanted to point out that I didn't really like is that these distraction finishes it was the Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley match, the Gunther Damian Priest match, the what else was it? Drew McIntyre CM Punk match.
Oh,
I don't
God.
necessarily want to count Cody Rhodes solo Sokoa.
No, that wasn't a no, that wasn't a
That was
distraction.
part of the match as a bloodline.
Yeah, that was just exceeded bullshit.
But the thing that frustrates me about all those distraction finishes
Yeah.
of those 3 matches was that a lot of the times when you get the distraction finish, it is a one-time distraction that leads to the finish.
Yeah.
In these 3 matches, they were distractions that then took up the emotional minds of the wrestlers that were distracted for the rest of the match, and that they could not escape the emotional moments of love, hatred, lust, rage, bracelets. These emotional points were so distracting that they could not shake it. Damian Priest gets distracted, gets his foot on the rope by Finn Balor, and then just cannot let go his focus for the next 2 minutes. Even after wrestling Gunther for a little bit, he just goes back to Finn Balor. He's forgotten what he's doing in the ring. Obviously, the perfect example is the CM Punk match, which we'll get to, about the constant distractions of
fucking bracelet.
Whoa, now CM Punk breaks down your door because you have a bracelet.
Oh my god. I want to
we'll talk about it. And then the Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley stuff of the distractions with Dom and Dirty Dom and all of that stuff. So
no, I'm Dirty Dom. I'm sorry.
It was a lot
that one offended me the least.
It was the least offensive because it was also the entire story of the match,
right?
Going into it, but it was this idea of
doing it 7 more times.
Still, like, I think it was like Bix, David Bixen's fan, that tweeted something along the lines of like, "Is this the wrestling match that passes the Bechdel test the least?" And I think he's completely. The entire match is about them fighting over this guy more so than they're fighting over the title, which is extremely frustrating. Extremely frustrating. Which I guess we'll start there since I'm already talking about it. Liv Morgan defeats Rhea Ripley to retain the title. This obviously comes from Dominic taking the chair away from Rhea Ripley and then sliding it in to Liv Morgan, and she's using it on her finisher and hits the chair, and then they leave, and then they make out on the entrance ramp.
Good. Name her finisher.
I watched the show.
I know what it's called.
Oblivion. Into the
there
Oblivion. Or something. It's just, at the very least, Oblivion.
It's just called the Oblivion.
The Dom stuff, again, I don't like. I mentioned going into the preview that I think the attitude era-ness that they're adding into this feud, I think, is unnecessary. I would like them to just fight over the title. I think it's completely fair for them to fight over the title, a title that Rhea Ripley held on for extremely long time and never officially lost. Now she's fighting for it back, but instead this match was about a little boy toy and Dirty Dominic. The other thing about this match that I hated was the shoulder popping, which was an interesting, literally Liv's first offensive move of the match, pops Rhea Ripley's shoulder out of the socket in kayfabe. And then they put it back in. And then they do the spot again later in the match, which I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Once she pops it back in, we should just keep going. We should not be constantly doing it the entire match. And it was overbooked nonsense. I thought this was easily, to me, the worst match of the night. A lot of stuff was
really,
but this was like overbooked. No one cares about the title. We care about a boy. The turn was not great, mostly also because the commentary didn't even realize the turn happened. They were like, "Oh, Dominic dropped the chair or whatever." They didn't even realize he was sliding it for Liv. None of them picked up on that, and that was frustrating. Everything about it I thought was completely bad. And then on top of that, you got the make out after the match with Liv and Dominic. And I sat there thinking, did Rhea Ripley and Dominic ever make out?
No.
I don't think they kissed once. I don't think their thing was about kissing or like actual physical like interactions, right?
No.
I think it was
Yeah.
all this sort of like the underscoring of oh there's something happening behind the scenes and we're doing stuff for whatever behind the scenes, but nothing on screen. And here we go, and the very first thing is Liv Morgan making out with a guy, and it's like, God, the title should be the important thing. It was extremely frustration. Also, isn't Dominic either like engaged or married? No, yeah, he's married to somebody, which I thought was weird. That Rhea Ripley that's her line in the sand is making out, and Liv's is like, oh no, I'm happy to do that. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a curmudgeon, and maybe there's a feminist take that the women are in charge of what is happening, and this is their thing. I think we're super past that. I think we're back all the way around to being weirdly offensive. But I'm saying that as a cis white male, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, what do you think about the match, Scotty? I thought this match sucked.
Well, I thought there was worse matches because this show's terrible. So think about it that way. But because I really hate one match because my hopes for it were so high, and then
That's fair.
fought over a fucking bracelet.
Yeah. I think the work in that one, the CM Punk one, was at least better than.
But like, I didn't care about the work by the end of it because Seth Rollins actively completely ruined it for me. Seth Rollins is bitch ass.
Hey, settle down. Liv Morgan did nothing in the opening match. Literally nothing. The whole first 5 minutes for her actively doing nothing.
Oh, this wasn't. I mean, like, good.
I thought this was worse because the work was.
I thought Rhea Ripley did a great job. I think she's a great wrestler. Like, she was bumping her ass off and, you know, really doing all these great things. But like, didn't matter. None of it mattered. I don't remember really Liv Morgan doing most offense. I remember the shoulder thing. Mm-hmm. I remember her getting scared when she got her shoulder back. I remember Dom taking the chair. Oh, and then I remember Dom sliding the chair in and hitting the Oblivion. She hit the Oblivion twice. Rhea kicked out once. Like, actively work-wise, this is probably like in-ring wrestling. Like, it might have had the least moves too. Like, truthfully, like, I don't think there was a lot of wrestling in it. I don't know. There's a lot of bad wrestling on this show. It wasn't good. I'm not sitting here saying it was good. Here's the thing. I think I knew I knew everything about the story going in. Everything that I expected to unfolded. With, you know, Dom helping Liv retain. That was always the expectation. Mm-hmm. I think my ultimate takeaway is that if they don't do Dom versus Rhea, they're messing up the entire story. That should be the match. That is the big match now out of this feud. Has nothing to do with Liv Morgan. Like, obviously Rhea's gonna get the belt back because duh. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, like, Liv Morgan has this belt just to serve a purpose. But I didn't mind certain things, but the second shoulder thing was when I was like, all right, just leave me alone. Like, get away from me. Like, just end this match. Because like you did the cool spot once. Mm-hmm. There's no reason to do it again.
You get the big crowd pop for the shoulder
right pop. Like, you're not getting it again. So like, I think I'm with you in like terms of like worst wrestling. It just didn't piss me off the most because I didn't care.
That's fair. I think that's,
you know, like, this match didn't affect me. All the stuff surrounding it doesn't affect me enough because I don't follow WWE. Like, I knew that Liv and Dom were gonna kiss at the end. That was just like factual. Like, there was never part of me that said, oh, they're just gonna hug. Mm-hmm. You know, like, that's the sign of him turning. Like, they're not just gonna be like, oh, how you doing? And give us
you need the knife
turn. Right, exactly. And the idea was like, you think of Rhea and Dom as this relationship previously and whatever. This sounds so stupid.
We're gonna get 2 nights of this next year, by the way.
I know. Like, SummerSlam is so bad every year. Like, okay, so what I will give this match compared to another match or another like 2 matches on this show is like, this at least had heat to it from the crowd. Some of
Sure.
these matches had nothing. Nothing. That other women's match, while the work was better, yep, there you go. I also yawned watching it.
You said it, and my body immediately wanted to go. Oh man, I apologize, but yeah, that's not good. Anyways, second match: Braun Breaker defeats Sami Zayn 5 minutes and 42 seconds.
The only match that did its job. The only match on the entire card that did its job.
I was kind of shocked about how quick it did its job, because
I think it should have been quicker.
yeah, like it. Well, the problem was like the weird problem of this match being 5 minutes and 42 seconds. Obviously, Braun wins the title; he's the new IC title champion. Is that like, well, two things. One, they immediately start the match with Braun getting hit in the shoulder and then suffering a shoulder injury for the rest of the match. And I was like, come on, we cannot do this back-to-back matches. You know, if you think AEW is a sloppy shop, sometimes WWE is like, you have agents. You have ostensibly better agents than other companies do. Don't make these mistakes. Anyways, but like the 5 minute time limit feels like it should be more of a squash. And for a large amount of time, Sami Zayn was in control of the offense. And whenever Braun got control of the offense, he would start yapping. He would start barking, not literally barking, even though he also does that. But like
do that.
Stuff like, oh, what do you can't do anything. You can't escape me. Stuff like that. And then Sami Zayn would immediately go back. And it felt like either the match should have been more dominant or longer, if that makes sense. Like it felt like they were going 60-40 Sammy, with Braun getting the sort of like shock win, but it wasn't as shock of a win because Sammy either needed more offense over Braun or just like utterly destroy him, which wouldn't make any sense after they already ran this match last time Money in the Bank and Sami Zayn won. So there was stuff that didn't quite work in it, but it did successfully do what it was trying to do, I guess.
Yeah, laugh at me. I thought this was the second best match on the show. Because it was just simple. It didn't offend me. And this match got the job.
That's a good barrier to cross for Scotty. This match offended me.
This match got the mission accomplished without doing too much. Everything else did too much on this show. Everything. Even LA Knight's win, they did way too much.
That's a good point. My complaint is that they didn't do enough stuff.
Right. Like I wasn't looking for more because every other match had everything possible that I don't need. This was like, oh, he hits a spear out of nowhere. He hits another one. He wins. Great. Move on. Great. Now Braun can go be Braun and Sami Zayn can move on. Like, that's all I was looking for. It was a simple match. I wouldn't call it a glorified squash, even though it was short, because I do think they, like, for me, I thought they packed in enough like actual wrestling. I think they probably had more wrestling moves in this than the match prior. It was fine. Like whatever.
Yeah.
It was, for me, it was between this and the main event. I gave like the same rating, which wasn't high. Would you call 2 3/4 high?
Oh, I gave 2 3/4 to this as well.
Like, it was not a good show if you like in-ring. And here's the thing, and I'm going to say this. I don't watch a WWE pay-per-view to expect it. Unless there is a great match. Unless there is a great match on paper, which there was. There was a great match on paper, and it stunk.
I think I'm expecting like decent to high quality wrestling because this is WWE, and like the rest
card. I didn't have it with this card.
The wrestlers are still, in theory, good at wrestling, right?
Sure.
So I expect I'm not saying not great wrestling constantly. I'm expecting decent to high, and I'm also expecting spectacle. But I think that's when WWE is in its bag the most, is when they're doing spectacle. I think like WrestleMania, like we'll talk about that in terms of the main event of the show, but I think like WrestleMania's main event was delivered on its spectacle, whereas here the main event did not. But we'll get to that in a moment. Before we get to the next match, I did want to point out, I believe this is the moment where they showed Stephanie McMahon in the crowd. I don't remember if it was earlier or later, but they showed Stephanie
Clapping
McMahon
like a maniac.
She is going for that big clapper award against Mystico. It's the two of them, full shoulders, full clapping. I saw that and I was like, who is this? Mystico over there? What are we doing over here?
Little does she know she has no shot at winning that one.
No, Mystico is obviously the best clapper in the world. But she was, because the thing about her and Mystico is that Mystico's clapping is real. You believe his clapping. Stephanie, when she started clapping, it's like this, she's overdoing it. Why is she clapping like this? Mystico, you're like, this is everything I want. Anyways, next match. LA Knight defeats Logan Paul in 12 minutes and 4 seconds to win the U.S. title match. I thought this match, it sounds like you didn't like it. I thought the match was surprisingly way better than I expected. I didn't think this match would be too good, and I thought the moves were really good. Even if like the run up superplex was a little botched, the botch made it cooler because it turned into a super brainbuster, which ruled. I thought the match was actually really good to that extent. The problem is the finish was dumb. I really did not like the finish. The finish being Logan Paul gets the brass knucks again, this time from MGK, rapper, pop punk artist extraordinaire. Gets the brass knucks, uses them successfully in a way that he's used the brass knucks over and over again. We've seen multiple times to win matches. He uses them, but then when he goes back in the ring, LA Knight just kind of pops back up after selling for a little bit, hits his finisher, and then wins. Which I thought
for a little bit. It was like 10 seconds. Not even.
Exactly. It was like he gets hit. LA Knight bounces back. Logan Paul gets in the ring.
Right.
LA Knight bounces back up, hits the finisher, and wins. And I'm like, where's the selling? Why does the brass knucks not work on LA Knight at all in this moment? That like it didn't make any sense to me, and that was extremely frustrating. What did you think of this
match? So like the work was fine. Logan Paul did the crazy moonsault. That was cool. I'm watching this match and I have a really tough time caring because of other reasons outside of wrestling when it comes to this man. So
Sure.
like I'm just sitting here like just get off my screen, man. Like I don't want to watch you wrestle. I don't want to watch you have this big entrance. I don't want to watch any of this. Like this should have been a glorified squash. Instead, it was a very competitive, like 10+ minute match.
It almost felt like a burial in terms of the finish. You know what I mean? Like in the sense of like they got mad at Logan Paul. So not only are you losing your title, but you're going to hit your finisher, and we're not going to sell it, and you're going to bury you a little bit to that extent.
Yeah,
it felt very old school.
Stupid that his finisher is a knuckles thing.
Yeah, brass knuckles.
You know? Like again, the work was good. Like LA Knight, I think LA Knight did a really good job actually.
Mm-hmm. I think this is one of his best performances.
Yeah, I'm also sick of the what celebrity is gonna help Logan Paul part of this. You know, like that's boring too. It's just the same thing every time.
It would have been a fun thing to reveal if that's the finish that you wanted to use. A fun thing to reveal would be that the brass knucks that MGK gave Logan Paul were fake. You know what I mean? Like that would have been like a fun sort of reveal. I don't know how Logan Paul wouldn't have realized it, but they revealed that like, oh, I gave you fake knucks and I turned on you. You know, that's some sort of gimmick like that. That could have, if you wanted to do that and then like have MGK turn and then celebrate with LA Knight afterwards, maybe that's something if you want to go with that idea to subvert the idea of you're saying like the celebrity constantly helping Logan Paul. Here's a celebrity that doesn't want to help him and wants to screw him over.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of MGK, we could have had a boxer go out there and screw over Logan Paul. But I digress. but this isn't the show to
No.
to dive into that. But fuck the guy. Let's make that point clear. Fuck the guy.
Like this match, out of all the matches on the card, probably had the second best work, maybe third best in-ring work.
Yeah.
It didn't, again, things didn't annoy me as much in this one, I guess, in terms of like the wrestling side of it, as it did others. It's just like, I also don't have much care for these two, so like shades on, type thing. And it's like, I'm sitting here and I'm also thinking like, wow, it's been a year since LA Knight was super popular. I mean, he's still popular.
Sure.
But
He doesn't have heights. He does not have the heights as he did last year, for sure.
No, not at all. He won the Slim Jim Battle Royal or whatever it was called last year. So what mattered more? Actually, this was sponsored by Slim Jim, so it didn't matter.
Sponsored by a billion people. I mean, literally after this match, we get a Manscaped shitty commercial by everyone in the back. Which, by the way, I thought Vince McMahon only did shitty commercials. I didn't realize that this maintained into the next era. But,
yeah, shitty commercials are universal, buddy.
Next up was the aforementioned Nia Jax Bayley match, where Nia Jax defeats Bayley in 12 minutes and 33 seconds to win the WWE Women's title. Crowd was dead. They were basically waiting for Stratton for a lot of it. They were on their hands the entire match. I thought the work was fine.
Yeah, the match was fine.
Yes, everything from Stratton appearing to do the run-in to the end, I thought was solid, and it was just like Nia Jax doing 3, I thought, good-looking power bombs, like Sid Vicious style power bombs, where you just lift up the person.
Yeah,
and instead of going down with them, you just sort of drop them.
Oh, it was a Kevin Nash jackknife.
Yes, it was a jackknife. Yeah. I thought those look good, and so everything from Stratton onward to the end of those power bombs looked good. Otherwise, the work was fine. Bayley was fine. Jax was fine, but the crowd was ultimately dead for this.
I thought Bayley put a lot of work in to like make it work. It's just like the crowd that wasn't invested. The crowd was invested. I don't think there was ever a reason to be invested in Nia through this whole story, and now she's champion. So. Great.
I don't know how this spins out forward, because now you have Tiffany Stratton as a heel with the briefcase.
The Money in the Bank's great, by the way. The briefcase, it's great. It has a strap on it, like a pocketbook strap. I was like, okay, listen, I gotta give credit where credit's due. That's the best thing I've seen all night.
Yeah, but it's like they're two heels that are friends. So the immediate story I can think of is turning one of them face and breaking them up. But I don't want to turn Stratton face, and I don't think you should turn Nia Jax face, because it has never worked in the past. And she's doing some of her best her career right now as a heel.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the solution to that is.
The thing about Tiffany is she's gonna be cheered whenever she cashes in. Like that's guarantee. It's the follow-up that can keep her heel.
Yeah,
so.
Everyone gets cheered when they do the cashing.
Right, so it's like maybe they don't care about that. That's why it's like, we'll just do this. It'll be the follow-up, which is very easy for her to do the follow-up to. But again, I don't need to see Nia versus Tiffany Stratton anytime soon. So we'll wait and see. But once she got the briefcase on Friday, I was like, oh, she's not cashing in anymore. What a shame.
Yeah, that could be true. Well, now that it's officially the pink briefcase, it's like, okay, we have to get our money's worth.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm sure they're selling it and stuff, so it's like let's make sure this is worth it. This match was fine, which I guess is fair. Like this match and the Braun Breaker Sami Zayn match, I walked away kind of feeling the same. I was like, it did the job that they were looking for.
Yeah, I agree.
And I didn't feel offended. I keep bringing that up. I didn't feel offended when I watched it.
A good starting point. Speaking about it, next up, Drew McIntyre defeats CM Punk in 16 minutes and 58 seconds. Of course, this was the match of special guest referee Seth Rollins. The only note I have here is the bracelet. Scotty, the floor is yours.
This was stupid. You build up this story, right? You build up this story as like, oh, this is gonna be the most heated and physical match, and
6 months.
6 months in the making. And
A
my
literal blood
God.
feud. They bled. CM Punk
So-
bled for this, you know?
The one thing I want to say is like I thought the work was fine. Like I don't think there was any. I think Drew and Punk actually did good work. But the problem is Seth Rollins. Every part of him in this match frustrated the shit out of me because it was someone made a great tweet about it. Do you remember the match where in AEW when they kept looking at MJF in the stands?
Yes. I don't remember what match it was, but I do.
I don't remember what it was either. But someone said it was like that, but they just keep looking at Seth, the referee, instead. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, oh my God, you're so right. Like Seth, this wasn't Seth's story to tell. It wasn't. He shouldn't have been in this match. But they had to give him a spot, so they put him in this because they want to build to Punk and Seth still.
That's the problem with the booking is that
Yeah.
they're so focused on setting up the next thing, they fumbled the ending of this story.
Right. And it's not over because he took the bracelet back. The goddamn bracelet.
Yeah.
So it's like, so I watch this, I'm like, what is the point of any of this? You know,
the most frustrating part about all of this, Scotty, is I'm not, and to be fair, to be transparent, I'm not fully locked in.
He's gonna kick my ass now.
To be transparent, I'm not fully locked into Monday Night Raw or SmackDown every single week. I'm not watching every single match.
Of course not. You're a freakazoid.
I'm a freakazoid at heart. I'm not watching everything that WWE does, but I do my best to keep up with it. Do my best to watch a promo if it gets a buzz. Yada yada yada. If it gets a lot of buzz, I'll go out of my way to watch it. I do my best to try to keep up with what is happening in WWE. I had no idea the bracelet was a part of this story in any capacity. I knew everything about their storyline for the past 6 months. I don't know when the bracelet became a part of it. I don't know how it became a part of it.
Yeah.
I saw the video packages barely. I barely paid attention to the video packages. But even then, I didn't realize that the bracelet was a massive part of the story for some reason. And I was confuzzled by the fact that this match was all about a bracelet and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, I can understand, but I think it's a bad idea. The bracelet, I was just like, when did this become a part of it? When was this?
Yeah, the bracelet thing happened, I think, when he beat up Punk on SmackDown or whatever, or something, and he took it, and it says AJ and Larry on it. For anyone that doesn't know by now, which I would hope you know by now, based off the entire bracelet lore match that we had. It was just so stupid because, like, again, I thought Punk was really good at getting his ass kicked, and I thought Drew was really good at kicking Punk's ass.
That's all this match had to be.
But the problem is you had two problems. That's the problem. You had two problems. One,
really 3 now, I guess we have
the stupid bracelet. Like the moment Punk can focus on the bracelet, it's like, oh, here we go.
I could not stop laughing when the bracelet gets thrown into the corner and then he gets down and he starts crawling towards it.
Oh my God.
Oh my
And when I watched Rollins put the bracelet on, I'm like, fuck. I was like,
yeah, I did.
Two problems are combined into one.
I did. There is a part of me that enjoyed that because they didn't really make that
they didn't make it a big thing.
It was Seth Rollins as the referee just be like, "Oh, this is in the ring. I'll just put it on."
Yeah,
it just kind of he just threw it away basically,
so we don't lose it.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, but like Seth Rollins didn't need to be anywhere near this match, and it actively ruined this match. But you can't look past the bracelet part of it, which was the dumbest part of it. I'm happy for Drew. He won. He won a match. Good for him.
Queen Mac in the chat. Seth thinks he's Red Shoes, trying to get himself over.
That's a good one. That's a good one. No, that was a really good one. He should have wore red shoes. That would be so sick.
That would
but like between and I think it was Dave that said this like a week ago. It's like everything Rollins is doing doesn't fit this big time blood feud. And you felt it in this match.
Yeah.
Every bit of it ruined it. Completely ruined what I thought was the most hyped and most exciting match on the show. Like I said, if we look at the work itself, if we look at Punk in this match, because I think that is worth talking about after all the injuries, he looked good.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
He just got
He
thrown
lo-
around, but like
Need a lot of time to breathe. Took a lot of time.
yeah. Again, he's what, 40 something years old, been out of action 75 times in the past 3 years. Like, but like, doesn't matter because it's all about bracelets.
Yeah.
I can allow the time to breathe thing. I don't give a shit about that. Like, it happens to wrestlers all the time because that didn't affect me. Everything else affected me.
Yeah. Like like that's the thing is like this match is instantly better if you either get rid of the special guest referee or the bracelet.
Yes.
Like it's still not great. It would still be annoying with Seth Rollins doing the whole thing. It would still be annoying with the bracelet the entire thing. But the fact that you had both was extremely frustrating. You had Seth Rollins.
It just sunk the match.
Yeah, just doing the whole 97 HBK Bret Hart gimmick of the special guest referee, not using the chair though instead. And then like, yeah, just kind of like letting things happen, but like over the top, being like, "Ow, I'm gonna tie my shoe" and all these sort of things. Like, it was sort of annoying. I don't know.
Everything he did took away from the match.
Yes.
Every single thing Seth Rollins did took away from this match.
Yes. To me, the bracelet was more abhorrent. Like, I think to me, the bracelet was worse. Than Seth Rollins.
The bracelet, I agree the bracelet was worse, but that didn't kick in for a little bit.
Sure.
Seth Rollins kicked in from the moment his entrance happened.
Yeah.
Where I was just like, here we go. Like, the bracelet was the second half mostly, which was like, that's when the match went from like, oh, this is pretty good to
this is the story of the second half of the match is the bracelet.
Right. So the bracelet was absolutely worse. It's just like the Seth Rollins part drove me insane.
Yeah. And also, like I mentioned, the top.
He took the bracelet, and then has the bracelet, and then they became one. They became this one annoying thing that wouldn't leave.
It literally became one figure. Like I think the bracelet, like the storytelling idea.
You hear how fucking stupid this is? The bracelet,
a friendship bracelet. I think
on one side we got the Elite doing nothing. On the other side we got CM Punk fighting for a bracelet. Why couldn't we just all sing Kumbaya and have some greatness together, folks?
Why can't I just get excited for Darby versus Jack Perry? I'm just over here being like, I want to see Jack Perry and Darby Allin kill each other. Meanwhile, over here, I got fucking the Elite, the bitch Elite, and over here I got the fucking Taylor Swift loving friendship bracelet with Seth Rollins. So that he loves the symbolism of the bracelet so much that he cannot fathom attacking the man. He drops the guy he is fighting at least twice. And that he has a 6-month blood feud where he injured his tricep in. This guy literally injured his tricep that he couldn't wrestle the past 6 months. He bloodied him up in the back parking lot area, and he dropped him twice because he's focused on a bracelet.
I think my favorite part of this match though is Drew winning. Then be like, I'm gonna fucking take the bracelet again. That popped me. I'm not even gonna lie, because like we did all this bullshit about it. He's like, yeah, I'm still gonna take it. Like I thought that was very fun.
That's the worst part. He takes it, and it's like now it becomes like this continues. I'm like, no,
I know.
The bracelet lore has now become intertwined with this.
My final take, is that like AJ Lee has to show up, or this is useless.
Right? Like, this
is so useless.
Either AJ Lee has to show up, or Larry has to come out and bite Drew McIntyre in a Kenny Omega like way. Like we have to, like Larry has to be involved at this point, and it's just I don't give a shit. Like it's so bad.
Big couple weeks for dogs. That's all I'm saying. We had Pharaoh. I won't spoil Deadpool and Wolverine, but There's a dog in that.
There's a trailer.
Yeah, you got dog pool, and now we got Larry. We're booking these dogs and everything. I actually like that we can at least laugh about this match because, like, my problem with it is that I enjoyed the first half for the most part, besides Seth freaking Rollins.
It was bothersome, but it wasn't like overtly bad.
Right, and then the bracelet kicked in.
Yeah, that's why I think the bracelet was the worst part because it derailed the entire match, and it became. It derailed the entire match, but that was the match, right? Yeah. Like that is the story they went with, and that's the other thing is that like, I think like it's also the thing of like seeing CM Punk in AEW, and then his first singles match in WWE is about a bracelet, and I get it. I know that there are. I know there are. Not. I don't get Scotty in trouble. I know there are. CM Punk stands and friends of his out there.
I'm not a CM Punk stan.
I'm not talking
anymore.
about you. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about a couple of purists out there that may be super into CM Punk that may have tweeted reasons why.
I think it's just one. I think it's just one.
That may have tweeted why.
I want to just say that I respect the hell out of like that. Like you just keep backing it up. Good.
I was like, I saw that tweet and I was like, shut up. Like, come on. It doesn't matter. Like, I understand what the symbolism is, but it still sucks ass. Like the fact that like this is what you're fighting for, but what you're fighting for distracts you more than getting the revenge. Like what you're fighting for distracts you from actually fighting for the thing you're fighting for. That didn't make any sense. But you know, like you understand what I'm saying? Like the symbolism of AJ Lee and Larry distracts you from fighting for AJ Lee and Larry and yourself. It was just bullshit, is what it was. It's overbooked, overwrought storytelling.
This and the opener, which were the most heated feuds coming to this show, were I think the two worst things on the show.
Yes.
Awesome. Love it.
Great show.
10 out of 10. No notes.
This match got a 6.61 on Cage Match. Too high. Way
too high.
I just refreshed it. 6.64.
This match, while it frustrated me the most, is the better of the two because at least some of the work was good. But they were both stupid.
Yeah. Let's a reset.
I think you just attacked the entire world on that one.
There was a lot to get out all of a sudden. Next up, WWE World Heavyweight Title match. Gunther defeats Damian Priest by referee's decision, I guess technically. 60 minutes and 38 seconds. We all expected this to happen with Gunther getting the win, and he did. Crowd was distracted by the entire match, basically I think I saw that the screen went out, so the crowd couldn't see what was happening in the match the entire time. But it didn't matter because they could hear the great chop battles that were happening over and over again. I don't think this was the best Damian Priest. I don't think this was the best Gunther we've seen. I thought the work was well done. And I would have liked it more if we didn't, again, get a distraction finish with Finn Balor officially turning on Damian Priest, and then Damian Priest getting distracted by fighting for the title and distracted for battling against Gunther, instead wanting to continue to fight Finn Balor as Gunther then just continues to beat the crap out of him and then submits him basically by passing out. I thought the work was really well done. I liked it more. It was just the finish again was bad.
I thought this was easily the best Damian Priest I've seen. I think he stinks. So this was like collectively good. There was no bad parts to it.
I don't remember what match it was, but I weirdly liked the one where his leg got injured during it.
Oh, the Drew one.
Yes, I like the Drew one more than this one.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think I liked that overall better, but that's because of the finish.
Yeah.
On this one.
That's right.
Like the work wise, he felt on, like he was hitting everything and he was ready for the big slugfest, which I think was my big question going into it. I think the win here is that what's his name won.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Like I think that was the most important part of all of this show for me. Like truthfully, like going into it, I was like, this is the part that needs to happen.
Mhm.
And thank God it did. Like, because now it can move forward as like, okay, now I can be excited for his big title matches against whoever. Because this was I thought this was easily the best match on the show in terms of in ring. Like, I don't even think it was close, truthfully, when it was
Yeah.
all said and done. Um, the finish is the finish. It was both what you expected and both what you didn't. Like, you expected the Finn thing to happen. I just wish it didn't happen the way it did.
I also didn't want it to happen the same night as the Dom thing from earlier.
Yeah. So they did this full thing of we're just all turning now, which is whatever. But I think trying to think overall, like out
It
of
was probably
all,
my favorite match of the night.
oh, it was easy mine. I can't even think of anything else that
Yeah.
would come close. I guess like no, I can't. Yeah, I get nothing. I didn't really like anything on this. That would be my pick as well. But
Yeah.
I'm just happy he won. That was the most important
too.
part because now every pay-per-view is gonna hopefully have him defending, which was the same thing with the IC title. It was like every show is benefit. Well, actually, no, he never defended that damn thing on pay-per-view. But now he will because he's the world champion, and it's great to see Gunther as a world champion in this company. Out of the many things that WWE does wrong, they do Gunther right. And honestly, if there's anything, and if there's anything to do right, honestly, it's probably him. You know, Corey Graves said on the commentary, he might be the best wrestler in the world. He might be the best wrestler in the world. Gunther's that good.
Mhm.
Gunther's the only wrestler I've ever seen step into WWE and make them change to him, not him change for them. He's great. There's a lot of good matches for him on Raw. There's obviously like you'll play the Sami Zayn match back somewhere down the line, I'm sure. You got Seth Drew, Punk.
You got literally around the corner, Bash in Berlin. I wouldn't be shocked if they do him versus Ilya. I know, you know, neither of them are German, but they both work WXW constantly.
I mean, I would say no. I wouldn't say no.
I wouldn't at all. I wouldn't know.
After the bullshit you gave me on this pay-per-view, you know what? You owe me.
Yeah.
You owe me that.
I don't think we'll get that. I think it'll probably be Braun versus Ilya, but still, that should be good.
That's pretty good too.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of good avenues for them to go. With Gunther, that's the one thing. Like I look at Cody, right? Cody on SmackDown, he's got no one.
Yeah.
Right. Gunther's got like everyone to face, which is great for him. And honestly, good because that's what I want to see. But good for Gunther. I don't care about the Judgment Day. I'm sorry. I don't think the Judgment Day was this all-time legendary group. For the most of it, it was just Rhea Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
And just because Damian Priest won a belt doesn't make them like this great group all of a sudden. Sorry.
I agree. Next up, next match to discuss is the main event, which of course it was Cody Rhodes defeats Solo Sikoa, 29 minutes and 13 seconds, WWE title, W Universal title. Bloodline rules match. Of course, the bloodline rules means that anything goes, but more so than anything else, the bloodline rules means that people will interfere. We saw interferences with the Tama and Tonga. What was it? Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa came out. Why is Tonga Loa wearing an eye patch? Did he get
I don't know.
I don't know.
He must have. He must have got hit in the eye.
Yeah. I was like, it's just a look he's going for. So there were some interferences there. We had Kevin Owens and Randy Orton run them off. That makes sense if the two of them were the tag team champions, but not the two of them. I guess they understand that Tonga Loa is not that good of a wrestler. And then you had Jacob Fatu come out, seemingly possibly self-injure himself. I don't know if that's a work or not. Because
he said he was in a boot.
He might have been in a boot afterwards, but he might have been in a boot selling as well afterwards. I don't know. Like the thing about it is that like it took Jacob Fatu also out of the match without doing a run-in. And so I don't know if they canceled a run-in and they shortened the match, or if Jacob Fatu actually, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he might have actually got injured. I don't know, but it also took him out of the match. So I don't know.
Yeah, to me, it felt like it could be part of the story.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel as well.
And now they're gonna make it part of it if it wasn't. So like we'll never know, unless he's out for like a lot of time, then we know. But if he's not out for a lot of time, definitely part of it.
And then, of course, after that, we got Roman Reigns' official return to WWE. Comes out, attacks Solo Sikoa, gives the head nod to Cody, which allows Cody to pick up the win from Crossroads.
Before I get to Roman,
Sure.
before I get to the big dog, the original tribal chief, whatever else we want to call him, Solo Sikoa stinks. Terrible wrestler. So he hit a move, right? And then he'd do this. He hit a move, and then he'd do this.
Well, he was counting the number of moves he just did. One.
And then he hit another move, and then he'd do this. I'm like, dude, you can't do the acknowledge me thing every time. Or whatever the fuck, the we are the ones thing. Like, stop. Just stop. He's not an interesting wrestler. The reason this match wasn't bad is because of Cody Rhodes.
Sure.
Cody Rhodes is great at getting his ass kicked, and he's great at the comeback. That's what Cody Rhodes does. It's what gets him by. So this match is building to one thing.
Well, to that point, I think like Solo Sikoa in a lot of ways resembles Braun in that sense, where they would do a move and then sort of like celebrate or like yap. Braun, I mentioned that being an issue of Braun earlier. The difference is that the moves Braun does are cooler, higher, spottier than Solo. And then the aura on top of Braun is way better than Solo.
Right. And hear me out here. His match didn't last 20 minutes.
30.
30. Sorry, 30. Like, that's part of it too. Solo is not the guy. He's just not.
He's just not that guy.
He's not that guy. Is that guy? Roman Reigns, after all these years, after so many ups and downs, couldn't feel bigger than everyone on a roster than he does right now. When his music hit, and it was a remix version, by the way, so I didn't even know what the hell was going on. When it first hit, everyone lost their freaking mind, and it was so loud until the show ended because of him. And I'm watching him walk down there. I'm like, they messed up a lot with this guy, but they always knew that he could reach this point, and I got to give them credit for that. They always knew he could be bigger than just a wrestler. Like, they always knew he could be this massive guy, and it just took him getting control to do it.
It took doing what everyone said, which was turning him heel first.
And I think the best part about Roman in this spot is he didn't do the over dramatic thing. He walked in, he punched Solo, he speared Solo, got the hell out of there. Like, that's what he did. He didn't do the like, oh, which one am I gonna do? Which one am I gonna hit? He didn't do that shit. He got in, boom, and that was great. And what was the best part of this show? Unsurprisingly, it was Roman Reigns returning, as everyone expected. It was the hottest part of the night by a million. By a million. There was nothing that came close to being this hot on this show. And then Cody wins. Great. And now you have that story of like, and I think the one thing you can say about Cody is Cody hit a move before Roman came out, by the way. Like, he hit the Cody cutter from the top, and then they did the dramatic, like, Roman's coming in. So at least it wasn't like, oh, he helped. Well, he did help Cody win, but he didn't make Cody win. Like, Cody could have just been winning from there. That's the type of thing, But this was also very much the light version of the WrestleMania match in every way, shape, or form. The work wasn't as good.
Yep.
The pops weren't as good. The Roman pop was amazing, but everything else was like, who cares?
Yeah, I really liked the WrestleMania main event in terms of that spectacle, and obviously in terms of the work more. You cannot do.
Oh, for sure.
This was the exact same match as the main event of WrestleMania. The only difference being that the run-in stars were way smaller stars than even the Usos at that point in time, Cena, The Rock, Undertaker, like all these sort of people. And then obviously also Solo is not that good of a wrestler of Roman. Like we, in the time period of talking about like the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame coming up, and obviously Roman's on the ballot, and discussing Roman as a worker or whatnot. It's like, oh yeah, if Roman's out of this match, it instantly gets worse. And no offense to like Foley Solo, but he is not Roman Reigns. He is nowhere close to being Roman Reigns. The problem is you don't put Solo Sikoa in this spot. He's not ready. No. He's not ready at all. Granted, 31 years old, but he's been wrestling since 2018. Like he has only wrestled 189 matches, and he just main evented the second largest show for WWE probably of the year.
Yeah.
He's not ready. It is abysmal booking to be putting out a guy like Solo Sikoa. I understand the story, but it is bad booking to put a guy like him in this spot when he is obviously too green to be in this spot.
So I'll be the opposite side of that. I like when wrestling companies take chances on people. I don't think we see it enough. I don't think we see people take chances enough, right? What's been the New Japan complaint for the past freaking like 5 years? You don't go with young guys. They tried with Solo. Did it fail? I think it did. I don't think he's obviously not that guy. And we knew that for the most part going in, he's probably not going to rise to the occasion.
I think
you should have probably done it on a smaller show.
Yes, that's where I agree. That's where I completely agree with what you're saying. I think you're right that the way to elevate and change the business moving forward, not change the business, but give the boom, is to elevate young stars, especially new stars. That's what New Japan needs to be doing. The problem is that SummerSlam is not the time to do it for this guy, and I think when you're watching Solo build up to this over the past year, you can tell that he is like, it would be to me putting like Ren Narita or Shota Umino in this sort of role. Maybe Shota Umino
on like Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, well, it's like Shota Umino, Wrestle Kingdom. Obviously, he would have to win the G1 in that sense, but let's count the G1 out of it, right?
It's just right.
Dominion. Putting Shota Umino in the main event of Dominion.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't they do that with Tsuji, though? I think like this year, last year?
They did it immediately. Like,
so
that was the return match.
And that was the return match, and that was against Sonata, and I do think Tsuji is a better worker than Shota Umino in my personal preference. But that, to me, that would be putting like Shota Umino at this point, where we've seen him after a little bit and be like, okay, I don't necessarily am exactly positive he's the guy. Maybe a better comp is that Ren Narita spot, and being like, okay, why are we then putting him in this spot and then wanting him to perform really well?
I think Ren's fitting because of the heel aspect.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right. I think also it won't matter.
It doesn't, because it didn't.
It's like it was all about Roman.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
Everything about this show was about the final 2 minutes of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else was just like, oh, we have to put a card together. But Roman's coming back. And what's going to be remembered from this show? Roman coming back. Because what got the loudest pop? What was the loudest moment? Who was the coolest in the room? Who was the best? It's just what happens when you're a bigger star than everyone else.
Yep.
Cody did his best. Give him that. He did his best in the main event. Also, last thing, it's very funny watching Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa do things together, because one has so much more charisma, one has so much more athleticism, one's so much more talented, and yet it's like, yeah, Solo Sikoa is the guy. Is he though?
Mm-hmm.
No, he's not. But yeah, good for Roman. Welcome back. I would say they needed you, but they didn't technically. But they just benefit from you being back at a time where following a bad show. Had they had this show and no Roman, I think you would start to see a little bit of a slowdown for WWE. but they had Roman, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how they follow up with this. Like, I mentioned even in the Slack that what they really need to do is separate Cody from Bloodline completely. And what this has done has intertwined him, I think, more.
Yep.
Because now because obviously all the questions that already exist are the biggest match you can do is Roman versus Cody. A bigger match you can do is Roman versus The Rock. Another big match you can do is The Rock versus Cody.
Yeah.
You know, these are all possibilities still, and I think they are totally plausible.
Unfortunately for Cody, that's his life moving forward.
Yeah, and I think the problem with Cody's title reign right now is he is so much an afterthought to the Bloodline story that it is actively hurting his title reign. Granted, he's still going out there and doing some good work, especially with like AJ Styles, for instance. But it is just not, no matter what, right now, he is the afterthought to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is the bigger star.
Yeah.
In terms of the WWE playbook.
Yeah, I mean, those two are the guys that made them as hot as they are.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give them that. So,
but Cody didn't feel big here in term when next to Roman. He didn't feel like a big guy next to Roman.
It wasn't even about Cody here.
No.
Like Cody, it could have been anyone in that spot. It was just about the Roman return. It'll be interesting. The one thing I'll give them is they now have interest in, is Roman and Cody like cool, or they, that will help them. I mean, there's the reason why I see people talk about Raw and people don't talk about SmackDown, because SmackDown's just it's a hamster wheel of a show.
Yep.
While Raw, things happen,
like
bracelets. So
we'll see what happens.
That was Summerfest.
That was Summerfest. Yeah. Not a great show. I think one of the worst shows of the year. Helped. Helped by Roman.
If there's no Roman, baby.
Yeah, no. Anyways, let's move forward. Let's talk about the Stardom has their 5-star Grand Prix starting off this Saturday in I believe this is is this correct? The Yokohama Budokan? Am I correct in that?
Yeah.
In the Yokohama Budokan, August 10th is the opening day here. We talked about the what am I trying to say? The standings, I guess, the blocks earlier. I'll run them down real quickly. But we also will talk about the first night of action. The blocks real quickly are Blue Stars A, Sayori Anu, Shuri, Starlight Kid, Xena, Koguma, Anna J, and Miya Masaki. Blue Stars B, Suzu Suzuki, Saya Kamatani, Hanan, Rana Yagami, Saki Kashima, Tekla, and Risa Sera. Red Stars A is Maika, Hazuki, Ruaka, Konami, Manami, Natsupoi.
That was pretty good.
And
I was getting into it.
It turns into a rap. Red Stars B, Mayu Utani, Tam Nakano, Momo Watanabe, Yasume, Meisara, Saya Ida, and Tomoyaka Naba. Obviously, we have its first night here. We'll run through some of the matches. I'll get some of your thoughts here, Scotty. First two matches, of course, are just going to be 6-woman and 8-woman tags. Who cares? I'm shuffling off.
I don't know why they even have those. There's so many tournament matches on this one show.
I agree. Because you could have added at least maybe 2 or 4 more tournament matches, obviously, from these tags. But
I know why they're doing it, because they've taken their world champion out of the tournament, so they're like, we need to get her on this show. And it's like, you signed up for this.
In hindsight, I was thinking about that. Remember, they did that similarly with the Cinderella tournament this year as well, where they took the champions out, or at least the world champion.
Yeah. They took all the champions. They took all the established people out.
Yeah. And I think that was certainly an idea, and this is the same idea, just on a smaller, the smaller scale, because we know
I'll tell you why they did this one. Natsuko can't handle a full tournament.
Well, that's probably true as well. Well, she's still going to be on the tour, so there's that. So
yeah, but between working the Naito effect, essentially.
Yeah. I got the lineup here for the first night. I do not think this is necessarily in order.
It's definitely not in order.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it says match 0, the 6-woman tag, and then it doesn't say match numbers ever again. And it's order of A, B, Red Stars, and B Stars. So real quickly going through it, we have Natsupoi versus Maika. I'll just do the Red Stars A real quick. Natsupoi versus Maika. We have Hazuki versus
Manami.
Manami. We have Konami versus Ruaka. And those are all the Red Stars A matches. Any thoughts on this 3?
Hate versus hate. Oh god.
First night you got hate versus hate.
Micah and Natsupoi might be the main event. It's the former world champion versus the current Wonder of Stardom champion. Would make a lot of sense. Especially if Mayu and Tam goes to a draw. Should be, it's funny because like there's one really, really, really strong block, and then there's the other blocks where it's like maybe you'll get it. And I think of when I say the other blocks, a lot of the other blocks' best matches are also happening on this show. Not this one. This one I think they're saving, except for Natsupoi and Micah. But it should be overall a good opening night. It's hard. You should just go through all the block matches. It's easier for me to talk about.
Sure. Red Stars B, we have Mayu Iwatani versus Tamakana. We have Azame versus Momo Watanabe. And Meisara versus Tomiyaka Inaba. We then have in the Blue Stars, we have Blue Stars A, Sayori Anu versus Anna J. She's going to get her ass kicked in that one. Holy shit.
I bet she wins.
I bet she wins as well. Well, that's the problem also is you need you need Anna J to win because you need to establish her as a something for, as a foreigner coming in, you establish her. So she needs to get a win here. And she probably will. Shuri versus Starlight Kid. That should be
a big one.
That's a big one. Xena versus somebody who's Mia Masaki. Yes. I'm looking at the English translations through the Stardom website, and they don't.
Oh yeah.
This is Amasaki Mitsuyoshi. And I was like,
yeah.
And then we also have Suzu Suzuki versus Hanan. I like that one.
It's a big one.
I like that one.
That's the best one of that block, which is tough.
Yeah,
because we have hate Kamatani now. So.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what it looks like. Risa Serra versus
Kamatani. I saw a clip last night. It's not a great start. I'll just say that. Because it's almost like you don't make the super baby face a heel, but I'm not doing that conversation again this week.
And then we also have Saki Kashima versus Rana Yagami. And those are all the matches set for this Saturday. So we have
the main event in any arena.
I'm probably circling 1, 2. I'm going to circle the Anna J just because I want to see what it looked like. I'm probably circling at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches.
That's good. It's good. It's a very strong opening night lineup. I'll give them that. It should be a very good show. If there's a night to tune in, night one's always like one of the best, if not the best, besides the final. There's a lot of great matches here. Red Stars B, they have no nonstop great matchups. It's just 7 great wrestlers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I look at this card, I do get excited. It's just a lot of wrestling though in the next 3 weeks. I feel bad for them almost. No one could tell me the schedule is better than last year for them. For us, sure. And the one good thing is every show will be live on Stardom World. So for the first time ever, every show will be live. There's not going to be waiting. So, which is good because like you can't have waiting with how packed it is now. Like previously, it's like, oh, we're doing them weekends only. You wait a couple days. Now it's like, if we wait, we're not going to see any of it. Like the tournament's going to be over, and we're going to get like show number 4 up here. Should be interesting. It's really hard for me to just like preview one night because obviously there's a lot that goes into it. But in terms of opening nights, this is up there with previous years. I'll give them that. Maya versus Tam is very interesting in terms of how they go about that, because we are going in a direction that very much leads me to believe that Tam is not only winning the IWGP, but potentially both world titles and combining them. So
that's fine.
Yeah,
I don't think they should do that.
yeah, but which one's going to be the one that's still around? It ain't going to be the Stardom belt.
That's probably true. That's probably true.
Which
Different company. Look, different company. It's not
different company, but a world title is a world title, man. Like, you don't have to get rid of a world title.
I understand. An entire lineage is going to be flushed down the drain. I understand.
For whatever, for a title that they haven't really fully focused on at all, ever since it's come whatever. The tournament, if you okay, well, let me rephrase. If you're getting into Stardom now, you're late. Way too late. Maybe you want to run away now, but if you're getting into it now, this is the best time to. Tournament's going to be very good. There's a lot of great wrestlers in this tournament. That's the one thing about current Stardom. At least I know the tournament will be very good. There's still a lot of hate in it, so be careful. But hey, when they're facing each other, we can just it saves us, right? Like there's one match that's going to be stupid. Maybe Momo wrestles.
Have we figured out what the acronym stands for?
No, it's just they just do it. It's not actually. Yeah.
Boo. Yeah, so the first night is obviously this Saturday on the 10th. The night 2 is on the 11th, and I have like night 3 and 4 also on the 12th because they're doing a double show. We got 4 shows basically between Saturday and Monday. And if I'm not mistaken, the 31st is the final night of the 5-star.
Yes.
So all of it is happening in August versus like last year where it happened over the course of like 3 months or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then the last night of announced matches that I have is August 25th on Sunday. Same day as All In London.
They're doing the semifinal stuff. So like the 25th is the last block night, and then they'll have the top 2 from each block face on the next show.
Yep.
And then the block finals plus the final on the 31st.
So maybe if we look at this last night of announced block action, we can get some
last night
winners.
Is the least helpful last night I've ever seen in my life in any tournament ever.
So looking at it right now, we have Red Stars A, Micah versus Ami Miyasaki. No, who is this? Manami. Again, translations. Micah versus Manami.
Yes.
Sure. Micah gets the win. Hazuki versus Natsupoi. All right.
Yeah. See, I think that's a block decider. I think that'll decide one side of it. I would guess it would get Hazuki one of the top 2 spots to keep the champion out.
Hey, look. That means Suzuki has to beat the Wonder of Stardom champion and go for a title shot. Fine by me, baby.
That's my expectation. I would be shocked if she doesn't. That's a win that she should be getting.
And Yuna Mizumori versus Ruaka. That's nothing.
That is absolutely nothing.
Mayu Itani versus Tomiyaka Inaba.
Could be something. It could be something in terms of keeping Mayu out. I wouldn't say.
Oh, a spoiler for Inaba. That would be shock. That'd be a shock.
Yeah. It'd be a big
shock.
So how
does it? Is it the winner of each Red Stars A, Red Stars B, Red Stars?
So it'll be Red A1 versus Red B2.
Oh, so 8 people are coming out.
Yes, first seed versus second seed on the red side of each. So it'd be the first red versus the second red block. It's annoying as shit. Why couldn't we just do different colors? You'd ask. I'll give you. I don't know.
So we're
They're trying to keep tradition, but they ruined it. So
RA1 is probably Micah. RA2 is Hazuki or Natsupoi. RB1, you have Mayu Itani, Tomiyaka Inaba. You have Tam Nakano versus
Mei Sarah, I think.
Mei Sarah, yep. And then you have Sai Ida versus Azame.
Yeah.
That could easily just be Mayu Itani being RB1.
Yeah, Mayu and Tam should be making it anyways.
Yeah. I mean, I would love if like Azame got put up there as like a 2 as well. But
Azame's probably got the second best shot.
I think it comes down to Tam and Mayu. And maybe there is the idea of like May or Inaba getting the win to sort of
Momo doesn't wrestle on that night, so the only way she'd be in is if she just dominated, and then you have one of Mayu or Tam getting eliminated that night.
And then who from Red Stars A is not wrestling?
Konami.
Yeah, probably not. Blue Stars A, we have Sayori Inu versus Koguma, Shuri versus Miyu Amasaki, and Xena versus Starlight Kid.
I think Starlight Kid's getting in.
Yeah, I think Starlight Kid is a good shot. I think Shuri probably.
Shuri and
Sayori
Kid seem
Inu-
like the reasonable two. Sayori's a maybe.
And then the only person that's not in here is
Anna
Anna
Jay.
Jay.
So she'll be probably back for All In. She'll be probably headed to All In.
No, she's on the show. She has a tag match in the opener.
Oh,
Yes, she is not going to All In.
damn. Sorry, Anna Jay.
Here, I think Blue Stars A, I think all three of these matches are a toss-up in terms of I think Sayori Inu, Shuri, and Starlight Kid are all people that I think maybe those are going to be the three fighting at that last night. I don't know. But none of them are fighting each other, so it's going to be interesting for that aspect, I think.
Yeah.
Blue Stars B, Suzu Suzuki versus
Rana
Yagami. Saya Kamatani versus Hanan, and Saki Kashima versus Tekla. It'll probably be Saya Kamatani moving on. I mean, it's Hanan, but
absolutely
you have to push her.
I'm guessing Suzu and Saya.
I don't know. Tekla, maybe? I don't know, but I think because she's in the same block as
I will
Saya
kill
Kamatani,
someone.
It won't be that.
I will fight someone if they.
You really don't like Tekla?
No, I don't. She's a war dog.
She's not your dog for real?
No.
Yeah, but I think it's probably Suzu Suzuki, Saya Kamatani.
Risa Sarah is the one that's not wrestling that night, by the way.
Because otherwise, you could do Tekla as a 2 and then face.
Yeah,
I don't know who else. Shuri.
I'll say this: I don't think there is a world where anyone besides Saya Kamatani is representing the blue side in the finals.
Agreed. I think it's Saya Kamatani easily. It's definitely getting it to.
I think it's Micah or Saya or Tam and Saya.
Micah and Saya makes the most sense, but also to me, it's well,
Natsuka Tora cut Tam's hair today, so
yep,
it's on.
It's
time. Well, here's the thing: I've spent this entire year being like, "Well, Tam's gonna get the belt eventually." Just rip the bandage off of me already, please.
So, is it possible for it to be a Micah versus Tam? I'm just trying to see if
it would be the block final. It can be.
And that's the only way,
right,
yeah. So they would be the block final, and then one of them has to win against whoever's on the blue side.
Yeah, which I, again, don't see how it's anyone besides Saya Kamatani, but...
And then someone overcoming Saya Kamatani. But I also don't want it to be Saya Kamatani, though. You know what I mean?
Oh, trust me, I think by the end of this tournament, you probably won't. But, for other reasons.
I think you've given her a new gimmick and you don't need to push her that hard all the way into the finals. If she made it to the block finals, I think that could work. And then have her face somebody else and then lose and then can feud from there with them. You know what I mean? You don't Sai Kamatani is not going to be in the world title scene anytime soon. I don't think.
You're dealing with a booker that's figuring it out on the job, man. You have way more knowledge than he does at this.
That's true.
And you've never booked anything.
Hey, I did a whole podcast.
That's true. You did. See, you already done more than he did.
3 years of booking it away.
Yeah. So take that, Taro.
All right. Beyond that, let's talk about the G1 as well. Obviously, I'm also bring up and the G1 is happening on Ichiban Sweetcast, where they do the daily audio for the G1 climax. So if you want to check out some daily G1 audio, Ichiban Sweetcast is the podcast where you get that. And I'll be doing the N1 where I'll be doing the daily audio for the Noah's N1 tournament, which started this morning. So I still have to watch it.
Because you're a Noahzoid.
Because I'm a Noahzoid?
Yeah.
Jesus. Any quick thoughts on Go Shiozaki stepping down in Atsushi Kotoge?
He didn't step down. They made him.
No, he's in a much akin to Joe Biden. He was forcibly stepped down from position. Any thoughts on that and being replaced by Kotoge? Disappointing because Go would have been great.
He put those pants on for one match and he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Guy had to keep to the trunks. The trunks were the secret. Got hurt instantly when he started wearing pants.
Mm-hmm. And that makes him also the CM Punk of Noah, I think.
Damn.
Now he has to start
fight for a bracelet. Yeah.
The real 0-1 gets replaced with a bracelet.
He's gonna return. Not him. Katoge is like a fine replacement. He's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
He's been kind of he headbutts a lot of people. I've noticed. I've seen him a lot this year. He could be like a good surprise, like interest level.
Yeah.
He's gonna lose a lot, but hey, good for him.
I think Go also probably was going to be on the latter half. Maybe at the low end of the top half, but because he's a champion, but he was not going to get a bunch of wins this year.
No, this is a different lineup than it was last year, obviously. It sucks though. It was very unfortunate. I always excited for Go. I want to see Go versus Kaito and so on, but it's fine. It's fine. The tournament still has Tavian Heights. We're fine.
I'm still jazzed about Tavion.
I like that you have to review. So I like that you are doing a tournament review daily that involves NXT wrestlers. And there's a good chance I'm doing a tournament review daily that involves Anna Jay.
Get into it. So again, wondering, that will be on patreon.com/countoutpod on the $5 tier. The first one, I'll put up on both tiers, $3 and $5. So any contribution to the Patreon you'll be able to listen to N1, Night 1, and my review of that show. But the rest of the tour will be on the $5 tier. Again, patreon.com/countoutpod if you want to check that out. Last thing we're going to talk about today is the G1 Climax. A quick update since we're more than halfway through the tour. I got the Night 5 results, but I won't really discuss too much about them. I do have the block standings. That's what we will discuss. And it's an interesting G1 this year. I do agree with the basic sentiment out there that the floor is raised, but the ceiling is lower, which is fine. And I think it very much is the same in terms of the block standings, because on night 10, you have a big old blob of a bunch of people with similar points. We'll go through it real quickly. Block A, you have Evil with 10 points, Zack Sabre Jr. with 8, Gabe Kidd, Shota Umino, Shingo Takagi, Tetsuya Naito, and Sonata all with 6. And then we have Jake Lee, Great Khan, and Callum Newman with 4. What are your thoughts on Block A action so far?
The worst block.
Oh,
I think this is the least interesting.
I agree.
By a lot, actually. Which is funny because coming to the tournament, I thought it was the complete opposite.
Yeah, we thought it'd be the story block. I don't even know if the stories are all there.
I don't know. It's pretty bad. Jake Lee's really bad. In the words of Dave Meltzer, Evil's bad because of the gimmick. Jake Lee's just bad.
Yeah.
He's so bad. Like every match he has is awful. He's the type of wrestler that I think doesn't gauge the crowd well. Like he'll do something and they'll get into it and then he'll just stop. He'll just stop and be like start laughing and I'm like,
because he's trying to troll the crowd.
He's a bad wrestler. He is a bad wrestler that I hope New Japan did not sign to a contract. I hope this was his tryout and it's not a good one.
This guy, by the way, has been trying to get in the G1 for several years. This was his goal. He's finally in it and he's panned. Everyone's like, you suck. He's at the bottom of the board.
Yeah, he is not good. I think just looking at the block as a whole, I think most of the wrestlers' performances have not been good. I
was going to ask you, who are some people that you've liked? Who are some people you don't like in Block A?
In the A block, Zack Sabre Jr., good. Good wrestler.
Shingo's
been pretty good.
Pretty good. I wish he was a little bit better, but still pretty good.
Yeah. I've heard great things about the Zack match.
It was great.
Highly unsurprising.
Yes.
I think Gabe's done well at containing himself in the right ways. Like he's been more serious this year, and I think that's been beneficial to him and the tournament.
I will say, except for the Naito match, that comes
I
back
haven't
out.
watched it.
Yeah, that comes back out where it
Okay.
starts with brawling and chair shots and other stuff.
Well, that's what I get for giving him credit.
Yeah.
Um,
But ultimately, for the most part, I think he is stepping up into less of that, which has been good for him.
Great Khan has been better than expected, which when my expectations are
hand
very
waving
low, it's hand waving. It's like, okay, he's had some fun matches, which you know what? I'll take fun matches from the big man Great Khan. I'm looking at I have the lineup in front of me over here. That's why I keep looking to the left.
Yeah.
Evil's been evil.
Yeah, expected. Sure. He went on a 5. What was it? A 5-match streak?
5-match, yeah.
And then lost to Okan. I thought that was a good surprise.
I think I think Evil does his role really well, and I've said that many times. Does his role piss a lot of people off? Sure does, but he does it well. Yeah, I have no complaints about Evil. He's doing what he did. Like I said, he hasn't been the worst wrestler in the block by a lot, so leave him alone. Let's see. Cal Newman, not good.
You don't think not good?
No,
I think he's fine.
That Shingo ending was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I think Newman has been doing good for the level he's at.
I think that's fair. I'll allow that, but I just think he's not good. Sure. I don't. He's not Luke Jacobs. I'll tell you that.
No, I mean I would much prefer if Luke Jacobs was in this bracket.
How many times are gonna ask for that guy?
Him versus Kid, him versus Saber, him versus Shingo. Oh, man,
I haven't seen Luke Jacobs wrestle in forever. By the way, it's been a long time.
You're gonna see him beat the piss out of Michael Oku soon. Get into it.
Oh my god, MJF versus Great Oku's next week. That's gonna be the worst match. That's gonna be the worst match of all time.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. And I'm gonna give you.
Could I name a match that's against my taste more?
I don't know.
That.
I don't. Yeah, I think it's that.
And I'm gonna watch it so I can give it a dud.
Sonata Naito.
Sonata.
Fine.
He's very much clearly like not fully healthy. I think he's been fine. I think he's been Sonata for the most part, but like he's not as crisp as he was even a year ago. I think that bicep just not fixing it's gonna cost him until he does. I know it's healed, but like, dude, you're doing a G1. It's not healed anymore. You know, like it gets beat up.
Yeah, it's naturally healed. It's not actually like save, you know.
And Naito,
he's having a rough one.
He's having a rough one. I liked his match with Sonata, actually. I thought they clicked very well. Trying to think of the other matches I've seen with Naito. His match with Evil was as expected.
Yeah. The match of Kid, which the aforementioned one I already talked about, which was fine.
Watched that yet.
Jake Lee one sucked ass.
Oh, that was a stinky. That was not his fault. I can't blame him on that one. Yeah, that one stunk. I gave that 1 star. So Naito's obviously been rough, and Shota Umino, who I specifically saved for last. I wanted to get, when we did the list before this, like after like the first day or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give an updated list after we're done talking about the blocks.
He's lower.
Shota Umino is cooked.
I think I had Shota last. I think if I recall.
Yeah, I gave Ren Narita a shot. Like I was like, you know what, you're gonna be last for now. We'll see where we are. Man, Shota. He is
he's floundering is the best word.
It's over. Like the Gabe match,
but not because of Shota.
No, other.
But in a way, because of Shota.
No, other interest heading into that. I just think like I don't know what's happened to him. Like he's
so streaky.
He is going, but like just him as a person, like the haircut, the gear change, Like, he's going through so much over this past year as a human. Like, you can just see it in real time because no one changes this much. And it's like, it's kind of scary. That's
Yes.
like, what is going on outside of the ring with this man? Because
He's all over the place.
he all over the place. He looks like a different person now. Like when
The
he came back with
graphic-
the long hair and the pants.
graphic that it's shown every single time. And
Oh
then
yeah,
him in the ring. It's like
You're
these
like-
are two different people.
like I feel bad because I don't know what's going on. I feel bad, but at the same time, it's like we're almost there. We're almost to the hand wave. We're getting really close.
Yeah.
And like the Zach match, that was a shot. And I thought that match was all Zach. I just I think it's over.
I agree.
I think it's over.
I don't necessarily think it's fully over in terms of the points. Evil, I think, is firmly secured as a top 3 person of the block.
You're damn right.
There's only 3 matches for everybody left, and Evil is against Shingo, Umino, and Saber. If he loses all 3 and he's at 10, then Saber's at least at 10, Shingo's at 8, and Shota is at 8. So they would have to win their other 2 matches.
You could definitely lose all 3 of those. Those are 3 big matches.
He could easily lose all 3, but I think even if he loses all 3 and Shingo and Shooter would then have to get 8, 10, they would have to then also win all 3, or they have to win 2. Both of them have to win 2, one of which each is beating Evil, and then Saber, Shota, and Shingo would all be the top 3, dropping Evil off.
Yeah.
There's also the possibility of like Kid. That's the thing with the 6 points. Kid, Naito, Sonata. There's also that whole faction of people. But it'll be interesting. So just looking at the Shota, Shooter, Saber, and Shingo stuff. Saber is facing Evil, Kid, and Sonata. Shingo is facing Evil, Jake Lee, and Sonata. Shooter is facing Jake Lee, Evil, and Naito.
Jake Lee versus Shota Umino might kill me.
Those are 3 rough matches, I gotta say, for Shooter.
Yeah, I think Shingo's not making it.
You think he is? So yeah, he has to win at least 2 matches, and one of which has to be against Evil. So Evil, Lee, and Sonata. You think he's losing 2 of them?
Yeah, I think Shingo misses. I think it'll be Evil, Zach, and probably Shooter.
Naito is facing Newman, Okan, and Umino. He's, because he's also in 6. Kid has Lee, Newman, and Saber. Kid, there's a chance. But he doesn't have the tiebreaker. He would have to get all 3. Like, that's the thing. Anyone that has lost to Evil, Kid, Naito, and Sonata, they have to win all 3 of their matches because they will lose the tiebreaker to Evil. To be above Evil, I should say. They could still be below him and get in at number 2 or 3 or whatever, but still.
Man, Shota so bad.
Yeah. Let's talk about Block B. That's as much, by the way, block standing analysis I can do right now because I still think it's with all the 6 point, blobs. It's really hard to tell. We'll get more information, more separation, I think, moving forward. Block B is going to be David Finlay and Jeff Cobb, both with 8 points. Hanare, Ren Narita, Konosuke Takeshita, Yuya Uemura, Hiroki Goto, and Yota Tsuji all have 6 points. And then Bolton Oleg and El Phantasmo have 4 points.
No, you want to talk about a guy that stinks. El Phantasmo, man, your story is awful.
Not into it?
So uninteresting. It's so uninteresting. He's not. I don't find him interesting. I remember someone.
I think the El Phantasmo story only works if you're already into El Phantasmo. And I know
I'm not. So I think he's been bad. I think Bolton Oleg, whatever we prefer to call him. I'm still not sure. I think he's been solid. He's done his job. This has been the tournament of getting experience, right? His wins have been fun, I guess. The first night especially. I like the new look for him.
Yep.
Something.
I'm loving it.
This is the tournament where he's got to take from. Right, he's the opening match. He's not wrestling a long time, but I don't think he's having bad matches, which is good. Like they're quick, effective. I want him to be a beast the next time the G1 comes around. Like I want him to have a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think, again, same thing with Callum Newman. I think he's doing better than Newman. I've enjoyed his work more than Newman. Granted, it's different. I think it's more the style I enjoy. But I agree that I think he is still doing well for the level he's at.
Let's see. Who's next? Who's next on my list here? Hanare.
I've been enjoyed Hanare. I thought he's had really good matches. I thought the Uemura match was really good.
He does the same thing a lot though.
But that's
When
fine.
the one second kick out is the one that has gotten me.
Mhm.
When you watch enough Hanare matches in a row, you're like, hold on, do you do this every single match? The answer is yes, he does. But he's been fine. He's been a never open weight champion in the G1.
Yeah. Which I think he's serving his role there.
I thought his match with Uemura was very strong.
Yeah. Did you see the Jeff Cobb promo he cut after their match? I believe it was just Jeff Cobb. We're talking about Hanare.
No, but it seemed pretty NXT, I heard.
Yes, apparently Hanare was offered a WWE contract. He took the contract to New Japan's office and said, I don't want to sign this contract. I want to stay in New Japan. And then I guess they signed him to a New Japan contract.
Okay.
What does Hanare in WWE look like?
What does Tonga Loa in WWE look like?
I was going to say, he's going to do the same thing, but they're just going to up his island heritage.
Yeah. What else do I got here? Jeff Cobb's been really good, I think. I think Cobb's been very consistent. Very strong performances. And I think that's kind of just been Cobb's mojo for years now.
Can I ask this question then? You just gave basically a positive version and a negative version of the same thing to Hanare.
But his matches are more exciting to me.
Okay. What about Cobb makes it more exciting, you think?
I think it's his power. I like the power.
He's got power.
Yeah, but he does strikes.
Sure.
And his strikes aren't as good as certain others.
Sure.
What Cobb does is power moves and then he'll hit like a moonsault or something. But they're very similar, and I think that's why they are very much hurt being in the same exact faction. I don't know. I wonder what I've been actually looking forward to their match today though. I think Hanare's had good matches with thinking off the top of my head. Uemura, like I said. I think that was good. He had another.
I believe that the Takeshita match was also good.
I really like Cobb and I liked Cobb and Uemura better than I liked Hanare and Uemura, but I liked both.
Yeah, sure.
Because they were slightly different,
Remember when Hanare first joined United Empire and he had he looked like Blade?
Yeah. Also, I really like Takeshita and Hanare. But spoiler alert, I've really liked everything Takeshi's done. He is the best wrestler in the tournament by
MVP for no doubt.
He's been MVP since pretty much night one and hasn't looked back. He is so much better than everyone. It's not fair. We were talking about the Roman Reigns thing earlier in WWE, how he feels bigger than everyone. I'm looking at Takeshita and his block, and it's it's not even a contest. Obviously Tsuji has a lot of charisma and whatnot, and he has a presence about him. Not even close. You look at obviously Dave Finlay, not even close. The list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
Hiroki Goto's been good. Of course, Hiroki Goto's been good. Of course, he's been good. He fought Takeshita today. I can't wait to see that. Are you kidding me? Big circle. I've only heard good things. Red Narita has done his role.
There's been moments where he's dropped the gimmick a little bit, and that I was like, all right, there's something.
He doesn't have the cheating as much in his matches, so it's good. It's not good, but
it's good to me because to me that shows that they're taking the training wheels off of him a little bit.
Yeah.
And they're giving him more of okay, go out there and wrestle.
Yeah, he's figured out his gimmick too. I'll give him that. He's figured out his role. He's not going to score big, but He'll be the heel that annoys. Who else do I got here?
Finley?
David Finley. He's been pretty good.
Better,
David Finley's
right?
been pretty good.
Not a little bit, not a big step out, not one big, one big leap.
I loved the Takeshita match. I really thought that was a great main event. When he rammed Takeshita through the barricade and the gate just flew open and
Yes,
Takeshita flew through, I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god. And then Takeshita did the freaking senton on the outside. I thought they had great chemistry. I think David Finley's had a lot of very good performances.
Agreed. I think his new, I don't feel like it's fully new, but I'm fully realizing it now during the G1. His new power move set.
Oh my god. This man
Dominator,
hits
the power bomb.
This guy hits dominators on people that like everyone else would struggle. I didn't realize how strong he was. He picked up Takeshita and did the dominator like nothing. I was like, sir, that man is gigantic. How did you do that? Yeah, I think the power move set with some strikes works really well for him.
Yeah.
I think he's been one of the better competitors.
Yes.
Obviously he's gonna cheat sometimes, like he's gonna use the shillelagh and whatnot. But I actually liked that in the Takeshita match because Takeshita kicked out. I thought that was a nice touch, and the crowd was into it. David Finley might be good now, folks. Just saying. He's David Finley now.
Yes.
He's no longer Jay White Light.
Agreed. Completely agreed. You mentioned a little bit of Tsuji. You just said sort of met in passing.
Tsuji was good.
Yeah, I think he's fine.
He hasn't come close to the match with Takeshita.
Correct. I want him to blow me away more. I want him to gene blast me more, and I've only gotten one gene blast.
He only gene blasted you once. It was night one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's been fighting in the Mystico match since then.
Yes, he's been leaving me wanting. Well, it's not been as bad as the Mystico.
No, not as bad. That was the most disappointing thing I've ever seen in my life this year. But in terms of like, here we go, and then he was just like, also stop smiling.
Wow.
And then
you more.
If Takeshita wasn't here, he'd be the MVP.
Yeah, probably.
He's awesome. I did not expect to, I was hand waving this guy. I was like, it's over. It's over. Why did I even start? Joe Hendry ruined him. Little did I know that he's like, I understand. I don't want to hear it. Oh, his basics have always been good. Blah, 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 blah. I don't care about that. I just wanted him to have great matches. And what is he doing now? He's having great matches. Him and Hanari was good. Him and Takeshita was great.
Match to the tour.
Great match. Funny enough, my favorite two matches are Takeshita versus, I haven't seen Zach and Shingo yet. But my favorite two matches so far are Takeshita versus Tsuji and Uemura versus Tsuji. No, not Tsuji. That's not true. Not Uemura versus Tsuji. Uemura versus Takeshita. Yeah, that hasn't happened yet. Uemura versus Takeshita. Those are my two favorite matches of this tournament. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, man, why can't Konosuke Takeshita wrestle here? Like those are rivalries I'm invested in now. The Yuya Uemura match was so well done. Like, you want to talk about two very different styles? Like watching Tsuji wrestle his big match against Takeshita, and then watching Uemura wrestle his big match against Takeshita. They're very different, but they both work so well. And now it's like create a story for Takeshita for the rest of this tournament. And yeah, I mean, Yuyu's been awesome. His match with Jeff Cobb was super good. All of his matches have been super good. He's just awesome, man. He's got it. He's found it. And it's awesome to see him. And Hiroki Goto was really good. It's a lovely world we live in where Yu Uemura is great. And I'm gonna give you my ranking. I don't remember all the people that were in it.
It was Tsuji, Uemura, Narita, Kid, Umino.
Okay.
And I think that was it.
Okay.
Tsuji, Narita.
And Oleg. Had Oleg in it too.
Really, Oleg shouldn't be in it.
but
You
for
mean?
fun, he's gonna be.
Yeah.
Yuya Uemura is now number 1.
Nice.
And I think I'm comfortable with that because how consistent he is.
Mhm.
Because Suji's missing consistency still.
Mhm. He's
Which
not
is
as
a shame.
streaky and wavy as Umino.
No.
But
Umino is
his sine wave is here, where Umino is like
yeah, exactly.
is
Like
big
this
old
really
wavy.
hot. Shota's had high highs, but he's had very low lows.
Mhm.
And he's showed those low lows a lot more in this tournament. So it would be Uemura, then Suji. I won't count Oleg because he's not there yet.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, realistically, he shouldn't be in that spot.
in terms of my excitement for him in the future, he's high, but otherwise, it's like whatever. Then Gabe, then Ren, then Shota.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
The main changes: Yuya goes up to the top, Shota goes down to the bottom.
Stinky poo poo. If I do any block analysis, again, incredibly impossible, but just for like Finley and Cobb, they're in the top to remain their leads. Finley is facing Cobb, which is gonna be interesting. Goto and Phantasmo. Cobb is facing Finley. Bolton and Suji. So you think Cobb can possibly get a win from Bolton? That could be interesting. Finley is definitely
an upset though.
That would be an upset. That would be for sure an upset. For other people that I think are out there, Takeshita, I think is a possibility. He has Narita, Bolton, and Phantasmo. So I think there's a good chance he's going to win all those matches. There's a good chance he might win actually all of those matches. Another person, Yuya Uemura. I don't think he's going to win. I don't know if he's necessarily going to get top 3. He could. He's against Narita, Bolton, and Suji. Suji is another person I think is a possibility. He's against Cobb, Hanare, and Uemura. I think that's everybody that is probably going to be in contention for the finals. I don't remember what. Let's see. What was the final nights here? Oh, it should be said the next 2 nights, by the way, are the 2 Cork and Hall shows. So
Finally,
night 11 is Block A with Great Khan versus Newman, Gabe Kidd versus Jake Lee. Jesus. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Evil, Shota Umino versus Naito, and Shingo Takagi versus Sonata. And then the other Cork and Hall show is night 12 with B block action. Jeff Cobb versus Oleg Bolton. Again, Wikipedia listed as Oleg Bolton, but down below it said Bolton Oleg. Just keep that in mind. So hold on. Okay. So according to Oleg Bolton Wikipedia, his name is Oleg Bolton, but it says he's currently signed to New Japan where he performs under Bolton Oleg. keep that in mind. Anyways, Takeshita versus El Phantasmo, which I actually would be kind of a circle just because of their interactions in the ladder match at Forbidden Door. Hanare versus Yota Tsuji. Ren Narita versus Yuya Uemura, and Hiroki Goto versus David Finlay. And
weird Corkin card.
I know, but both of them are kind of weird. And then you have night 15, night 16, and the final nights of Block A and Block B. Just to look at them real quick. Evil versus Shota Umino. That could easily be Evil getting the win and knocking out Shota Umino officially. Great Khan versus Tetsuya Naito. Maybe an upset with Great Khan, but Naito, we'll see. He could also win and get into the 3. Shingo versus Jake Lee. Can Jake Lee stop Shingo from getting in? If you're talking about Shingo not getting in, Scotty, this is Jake Lee doing an upset over Shingo.
That's so bad.
Yep. Sonata versus Zack Sabre Jr. Can Sonata basically knock out Zack Sabre Jr. or can he, Zack? I think that one's kind of a fight a little bit there. And then Gabe Kidd versus Newman. And then in night 16, Block B, you have El Phantasmo versus David Finlay. I think that's probably David Finlay getting the win there. Hiroki Goto versus Nari. That's just going to be fun. I don't think that these people are going to be really in contention, maybe for a 3rd place spot. Jeff Cobb versus Yota Tsuji. Again, that could be fun. That could be interesting. Oleg Bolton versus Yuya Uemura. I don't think either of them are going to be fighting for a spot here. And then Konosuke Takeshita versus Ren Narita. That's weird. That's a weird final night for Konosuke Takeshita, which makes me feel like he's not getting in. But or unless he's getting super in, and it doesn't matter. I don't know.
That has been my hope this whole time, is that he's getting super in, and it hasn't mattered. We'll see, I guess. I think there's a lot. I feel like the semifinals or whatever the bracket after is going to be very uninteresting compared to like all the people that have been interested in. So
yeah, so that is of course night 17, A2 and A3 versus A2 versus A3, B2 versus B3, and then the winners of those face the A1 and A and B1. So all the blocks are just staying together as they move up the ladder. And then the final night on night 19 in Ryogoku Hall, August 18th. So I still think a lot of it is going to be up in the air. There's some, obviously you can see that who's at the top, who's probably getting in, who's probably moving forward, but we'll see what happens. All right, that is it for Ring Post Radio. I think that's all of our thoughts. Scotty, any other thoughts or questions or things about the universe that I want to discuss before we go?
I don't think so.
All right, perfect.
I think we're good.
Then let's end the show here. Scotty, what is your match of the week and any plugs? Because I know you got a plug to plug this shit this time around. Right? Didn't you just announce another podcast?
Oh, that's right. See, I forgot.
I know. How do I know your plugs?
See, everyone else knows my plugs. I would have just said, follow me at Scotty Wrestling, and I would have said, see ya. That's what I do every time. I got to do plugs because I never know anything that I'm doing. However, since you've reminded me, yes, I do have another podcast because, I don't know, I make decisions without thinking. I don't know.
You have more free time.
Oh, that's true. I do have a lot of free time these days. That's probably why. I always start a lot of things when I have free time. Like I'll say in a second, but it's called the Gold Star Podcast. It's about Joshi Puro, mostly Joshi. If I have anything to say about it, should be a lot of fun. I don't think we've announced our first show yet. I know when it is, but we haven't announced it yet. So It's this week. Should be a lot of fun. I should remind someone to make that announcement. We're going to be talking 5-star, Marigold, maybe some New Japan, but I don't want to. See, this is the thing. When I make shows, I don't really make them with the idea of doing more than just Joshi anymore. Because I have this, I have this. I can talk about everything here, and I just go off the rails here because I only care about
there's freedom. You have an open field to run.
Yeah, and I think that's why people like to listen to this. So that's gonna be just mostly just Joshi. So if you want more Joshi from me, that'll be a lot of fun.
It is called Gold Star. I have to imagine there is a Marigold, Stardom.
There sure is. Yeah. There was a lot of thought put into that. It was those two, mostly the gold part.
Yeah. It's not called Ice Girls or something like that. which is the spin-off show, which
that was good. Yeah, that's the Ice Ribbon Sendai Girls podcast that everyone's been clamoring for. I will not be hosting that one. Thank you for asking. Because that'll start this week. I'm also planning to do, I'm going to say it now because it means I'm going to have to do it. I am planning to do YouTube reviews of each night of the 5-star Grand Prix, which that is totally me having time and saying, why not? I'm going to hate myself by the 5th one because there's 4 in 3 days.
Yeah.
I'll probably do all 1 second, whatever. But I'm going to do that.
Go 3 and 4. Just do it as one episode.
Yeah. That's what I'm probably going to do. I'll probably just do the date. Whatever's happening on that date. So that's going to be what I'm doing there.
Where will that be
live? I'll be on my YouTube channel because I don't want to put it on my podcast feed because it just ruin it. It'll be just Scott E Wrestling on YouTube. Very easy. Gotta use it somehow. Gotta finally start making content. I was like, oh, this will be smart. And then what else do we got? Tomorrow, Monday, my preview for the 5-star will be out. Have notes, blocks, schedule, possible winners, favorites, matches you want to look for in the dates, everything you need. It's mostly a guide. Make life easier for you if you're getting into the 5-Star Grand Prix.
And where is that?
That is on voicesofwrestling.com. And Tuesday, we're doing Stardom Road. Before, this is Ryan's learning this now. Before we take a slight hiatus because of the 5-Star Grand Prix, it's a lot. We got a lot, watch a lot. So
I feel like you guys had.
It's just 1 week ultimately that we're missing. We're just missing one episode, but in our minds, it's like a month off for us. It's just one episode ultimately because we're gonna do so this weekend. This week Tuesday, we're going to be recording our favorite 5-Star Grand Prix matches. So a little bit of fun this time around. We're just gonna do our top 5s and share them with everyone out of the whole history. So it should be a lot of fun.
If you can, remember to send me links to where those matches are held. I would appreciate that.
I will do that.
Both for me and the viewers at home can watch along with what you're talking about.
Are you asking for me not to send these Stardom World ones?
Ideally, no. If it's the Stardom World ones, that's fine.
Okay. All right.
I mean, if it's on YouTube somewhere, then even better,
Yeah, I think some of them are. Anyways, my match of the week. Oh wow, I did watch a lot of wrestling this week.
Match of the week is going to be impossible for this month because it's kind of like, what did we not talk about?
Well, I know, like it's funny because like
basically TV wrestling,
like everything's starting this weekend. Like everything is liftoff now for August, starting this weekend. So I was like, did I watch anything yet? The answer is yes. We talked about the G1, so I won't talk about the G1. I will say the Saori is a main event. Saori and Natsupoi versus Takumi Iroha and Azumi.
What was the politicalness of that one?
Natsupoi pinned Azumi. Good question.
Make it easy.
Saori was not pinning the Stardom wrestler, unfortunately. I think that was probably the one thing they probably had to change. I'm sure Saori was getting the win, and they're like,
is there a picture of Natsupoi and Saori both holding the belts?
Oh, there sure is.
Perfect. I love it. Well, then, like I said, my plugs. I just released a new episode of The Ballot again on patreon.com/countpod on that $5 tier. It is, Scotty, get this, 2 hours discussing the career and the Hall of Fame candidacy, the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame candidacy of Bray Wyatt.
I knew what episode it was, and it just hit me before. Obviously, you were going to say Bray Wyatt, but you said, "Get this, 2 hours," and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then it's just all like brain blast.
I'm not the longest episode, but honestly shocked that it went that long. It's actually a great episode. I think we did a really good job. I should say with guest Adam Berger. Who's a writer for for Voices of Wrestling. He's also Observer voter for Hall of Fame voter. I thought it was a really good conversation about his career, his life, and I think it was a good, fair conversation. I think there are a lot of people that go out there and say, screw this guy, no, or this guy's the best in the world. He's an automatic Hall of Famer, those sort of people. I think it was we were in the middle of the line, actual discussion about the pros and cons to him. And sort of, the most interesting thought I had coming out of it I was like, I think the thing that he's best in is historical significance. I think he's a historically significant wrestler, but it's just comes down to if you see that in a positive manner or a negative manner. I think that really determines things for Bray Wyatt. Because he's definitely shaped wrestling, but I don't know if people agree if it was for the best or for the worst. So it's a good episode. We answer that question in the episode.
Since this is the only time I'm ever going to talk about it, if he came like 20 years earlier, he'd probably be a locked in guy.
The other thought I had coming out of it is that, like, I think a lot of people compare him to The Undertaker, but I think he's a better comparison to, like, Kane.
Sorry to hear that. But yeah, you're right. I think you're right. Because like The Undertaker, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, he's not as big of a draw and is not as good of a worker as The Undertaker. And to that extent, I think that makes him Kane.
That makes him Kane by default.
Yeah.
No, that's a good call.
But we talk about all of that more and a bunch of other stuff in that episode about the ballot. I think it's a really great episode. Definitely check that out. And again, also on patreon.com/counterpod this month, we'll have episodes of the N Wondering, basically semi-daily audio whenever the events are happening. For the N1, for Noah, I'll be discussing them and reviewing them. So if you want to get Noah thoughts from this month, it's going to be behind the Patreon. Again, patreon.com/counterpod on the $5 tier. My match of the week, All Japan had a show this weekend.
I've heard great things about that.
Yuma Anzai versus Rei Saito. Scotty, 4.5 stars.
Holy shit. I mean, I've only seen unbelievable praise for it, and I've said to myself, can it really be that good?
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
I sat here watching it in dismay, being like, oh my God, this is way better than it has any right to be. I mean, Yuma Anzai is obviously a really good wrestler for the age that he is and all the stuff coming up. But Rei Saito, I was like, oh my God. There's a point late in this match where after battling for so much, Yuma Anzai seemingly has enough, just grabs Rei Saito's head and just headbutts him over and over again for like 5 or 6 times. And I sat here being like, no, what are you doing, my guy? And it was awesome.
Shirt being ripped as we speak. Thinking about it. I'll have to watch that sooner than I usually watch my All Japan stuff, which is week later. I will watch that this weekend.
The other top 3 other than the main event matches were all pretty, really good stuff, but the main event was great, and I was honestly shocked. I mean, I'm probably like on a higher end with 4.5.
I don't think you are. I've heard only amazing. Like I've only seen people rate it that and higher, so I don't think you're.
It is. I've seen it compared on a similar scale to his match against Kento Miyahara.
It has 9.15.
Yeah, so that's 4. That's 4.5. That's 4.5 right there. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
When I saw that match was happening, which by the way, didn't know was happening until like 3 days ago, because I thought for the longest time that was a Royal Road match.
Yeah, well, it's also confusing because they were announcing a bunch of Triple Crown title matches. He has another one, Ryuki Honda, or might have already had it.
He already had that,
and then he has another one.
Aoyagi.
With Aoyagi, which I think that's probably where he's going to lose the title. But that should be also really good.
I mean, if he doesn't, then he's beaten everyone.
Yeah, right. Well, not Davey Boy Smith Jr., who just came into the company.
God. Shout out to Davey Boy. Okay,
check it out.
I will. I was going to watch it anyways, but now I have to watch it sooner.
You might like it less simply because you now know that it was great, and coming in completely blind and being like, there's no way this is gonna be great, and then being shocked about how great it is helps.
Yeah, that definitely hurts it for like that's definitely
so watch it at the end of the month when you forget.
I'll watch it after I watch the Aoyagi one.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, definitely great. And I think Yuma Anzai, world's his oyster, gotta be. I don't know where this guy's gonna go.
I saw someone say he might go down as the best signing for any company in the 2020s because he was only signed a few years ago, and he's become the ace of the company. In 2 years. Yeah,
I think that's definitely true because AEW's had a lot of big signings, but there haven't been big movers per se.
In terms of business, he's just game changing for All Japan.
Well, Cody Rhodes is probably the guy that beats.
Well, that.
Because that's obviously the best signing for WWE.
At least for Japanese wrestling.
Oh, for Japanese wrestling, for sure. For sure.
I mean, he's the best trainee in Japanese wrestling since who?
I mean, it's got to be somebody in the past bit here in New Japan in that dojo system.
It really just depends on opinion, honestly. But my point is,
I'll say Juice. Jay White, maybe.
I think he's just considering where he is now in his reign and what he's already accomplished. It's like he's still brand new. and he's having matches like this. I haven't seen the Honda one yet either. I was gonna watch that yesterday.
Mhm.
But I read that was good too. It just sounds like everything he does is good to great.
Yeah,
So,
I think the weakest one was maybe the
Suwama?
Suwama one, which was like
I,
still pretty good.
I thought that was pretty fun. Like by
Yeah.
the end of it was like very engaging.
Mhm.
Um,
I think honestly, what hurts that the most though is Suwama backing out of his "I'm never challenging again" like the next day. So
well, of course he does.
like you wake up and then you're like, oh, he's also not
Yeah.
doing it. Like he's also
Yeah.
the
I watched that
stipulation.
like after he said that, so I was like, "Oh, so this is stupid."
Mhm.
It took all my excitement out of it. 'Cause I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be like the last fight," and then, I thought Suwama did a good job. And then I read that, I was like,
Is Yuma Anzai the best in Japan?
I'd still give it to Kaito.
Hmm. But I think Suwama. I think the Suwama match is better than the Gabe Kidd match. I think.
Oh, I don't.
I'm trying to think in my head. No, the kid might be slightly better. I think it did like 3 3/4 or something, and then Swama's 3.5 maybe.
I really liked the kid match, so I
Mhm.
definitely but it's close.
I think it's
I
close.
mean, there's a reason All Japan and Noah have excitement, and New Japan does not.
Yeah, I was also thinking about that. I watched the video. The show's over. The show's over. Still recording. That's fine.
We're just having our conversation
Yeah,
now that
our
we have
post-show
both.
conversation on the air. I watched a video by Kim Justice the other day, where she did a complete history and talk conversation about the Dave Meltzer 5-star scale. And it was
Yeah.
really well done. It talks about how like he didn't invent the scale. In fact, she reveals that the person who did in fact invent the scale or pitch the scale wrestling matches was Jim Cornette. Uh, yes. And then originally, another guy was doing it, Wayne Dooley, and the history of that, and talks about how it's evolved, and really it's just a matter of like what Dave likes, and one of the reasons why Dave, one of the reasons that I think the biggest reveal of that thing for me, other than the Jim Cornette thing, is that like Dave. People talk about like, oh, a lot of people are in cahoots with Dave, and like that's why all of his friends get big. And it's like, really, no, it's the opposite. It's the other side, which is really what's happening is that New Japan got very popular, and Dave likes the New Japan style, and so that helped. But really, everyone's chasing the New Japan style, not chasing Dave. Dave just happens to rate New Japan highly. And I thought about that I thought about it with the idea of since New Japan is not that anymore, like it doesn't really feel like, in terms of the world of professional wrestling, it doesn't really feel like there's a super hot thing right now. Like I think WWE is obviously the hottest, but for a lot of people, it's not. Like people don't enjoy WWE, so it's like there isn't anything, and I've been really wondering of like what's gonna be like that next thing that's bubbling up and coming up. Like it feels like Mexico and CMLL should be part of that conversation, but Mexico never feels like that's part of the conversation.
CML feels like it should be.
Yeah, I talk about that like in terms of like Noah and All Japan of Yuma
Yeah.
Ansai. It's like there's stuff bubbling there, but it really matters where they go from there.
Yeah, I think you've left while you talked about that. I've been thinking of the defenses between Kaito, and I really love the Inamura defense for Kaito.
Mhm.
That was great. Anzai, the Suwama match, I thought was good, not great. I'm trying to think of the Kento match was good, obviously.
Okay, let me pull up
Corkin.
their title reigns here. Let's see if let's do a proper compare.
Yeah, I don't think Kaito's had as many defenses.
So Kaitamo versus Dr. Wagner Jr. 3. Not as good as it should have been. Remember, it was like weird.
Kaito and Wagner?
Yeah. It was still
I think
good.
it
Remember, it was like weird for some reason. I forget
Oh,
why.
I thought that was great. I thought it was Keno and Wagner. That was
Oh, you're right. I'm thinking of Kano
Yeah.
Wagner.
that was okay.
Then Kaito Gabe Kidd, and then Kaito Yoichi.
Okay, I think I've liked it. I think I've really enjoyed all of those. Okay, and then Yuma won
Yuma
the title
has
from who?
way more. He obviously beat Nakajima for the title.
And I did not like that.
He
match.
then faced Kento Miyahara.
That was great.
He then had the Hideki Suzuki match, which was better than expected.
Better than expected for sure.
The Suwama match, which was, I thought, still really
Good.
good, just like wind out the sails.
Yeah.
Ryuki Honda, I actually haven't seen the Honda match yet.
Haven't
And
seen
then
it
Ray
either.
Saito, which was amazing.
Okay. Well, I'll side with Kaito, but I gotta watch the Honda. If the Honda one's great, then maybe this is more of a conversation. He has more, which helps.
The Honda onside match, currently on Cage Match, an 8.29.
I'd argue both are very important. Both title reigns are super important for these companies, and they're coming at the right time. All right, we can end the show.
Also, the Honda match was Cork and Hall too. So, yeah, no, it helps. That helps for sure. But yeah, so that is it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. We'll be back next week talking about loads of more garbage. I'm sure.
Hey, it's not all garbage.
We will be talking about basically G1 Climax. Stardom will have started. We'll be previewing. Basically, we're in tournament season. All of the events that are happening next week and everything, and this week and next week are all tournament matches I have listed here. There's also Triple Mania Mexico City. Do we dare preview that? I do not know. Scott and I will discuss. So until next week, we'll be back for all brand new episode. Goodbye, everybody.